Is Ron here?
Okay. No, Ron's not here, Marie's not here, and Nick's not here.
Got it.
It's all fun.
Okay, are we ready?
Got it. I'm ready.
Okay. You're all set?
I'm ready.
Okay. Good evening. This is the budget workshop, the first budget workshop for the town of North Branford, being held in council chambers. It is Tuesday, April 8th. Call the meeting to order at 6:33 p.m. Please join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mayor Angeloni.
Here.
Deputy Mayor McMillan.
Present.
Counselor Abelson.
Here.
Counselor Goad.
Here.
Counselor Miller.
Here.
Counselor Zampano.
Here.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is budget overview for 2025-26, town operations and capital budget. First item on the agenda is a report from East Shore District Health Department.
Going for the overhead.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're gonna have to move.
No, no.
He's putting the shield up.
Yeah.
You're in the way. Okay.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council, Mike. So if you could go to the next slide. So my name is Michael Pascasilla, and I am the CEO and Director of Public Health for the East Shore District Health Department. I put together this budget presentation. I'm just going to quickly take you through it. I want to start off with a little background. The East Shore District Health Department is a regional public health government agency since 1974, serving the towns of Branford, East Haven, and North Branford. We also offer services to the adjacent towns throughout New Haven County. I'm happy to say we are a national public health accredited district. There's only a few of us in the state of Connecticut. Our staff is made up of about 15 full-timers, 14 part-timers. We have a medical advisor, several students every semester, and some contractors and some seasonal employees. The makeup of our department, all professional staff hold a bachelor's degree, 65% hold master's degrees or above, and we're broken into 5 different divisions. We have environmental health division, a public health, nursing and clinical services, health education and emergency preparedness, a maternal child health or nurturing families network, and administration. So within the communities, we offer a wide variety of different services, including our nursing services, travel clinic, adult vaccinations. We have a mobile public health clinic, and we do vaccinations for homebound throughout the district, and we do TB direct therapy. Right now, we're in the process of implementing a new database, and it's going to be mobile technology. So all the things that are done in the field will automatically get uploaded through iPads. Just like any government agency, we have a number of state and even some federal mandates and a wide variety, the food code, water quality, septics, mosquito control, rabies control, some the changing climate with flooding. We're seeing a lot of that, and emerging infection diseases. Currently, we do have some public health challenges when it comes to funding. And just a few highlights. Again, I talked about the environmental health database, which is also going to have full service online filing and licenses. We're launching a new database that will be, again, full service with payments, forms, and complaints. We'll continue our research on the Farm River water quality, and we have partnerships with academic institutions to do research. And we are going to continue our opioid and suicide programming despite some budget cuts. Next slide. A little bit on budget requests. So when it comes to overtime, our full-time staff does not get overtime except for our union bargaining employees. Nearly every staff member is partially to fully grant funded, and our budget revenue is made up from several sources. So it's local per capita, which is set at $14.08. That's our request. We have a state per capita. Unfortunately, the state is cutting local health departments, or at least is scheduled to, from $2.60 to $2.34 per capita. And then we have fee for services, licenses, permits, and some clinical billings. And right now, some of our state and federal public health grants are on pause. To give you an overview of our budget, this is just a quick outline. So when we look at our full budget, it's about, I'm going to round off, about $3.1 million. Our request to North Branford is $188,883. Our mosquito control budget is flatlined at $6,388. That is a line item that sits in your budget, not our budget. We just manage the program, and our towns pay the invoices. And when we look at our budget, it's a makeup of our whole budget. It's about 6%. So North Branford pays about 6%. Comparatively to the other towns, East Haven is about 12.3, and Branford is about 12.5. So from last year to this year, our increase is $7,875. We do have some costs we can't control, like our MERS program. We're in a MERS program, and that's right now 16.68% of someone's salary, plus $3,120 per year fee. Healthcare, we're in the state plan, and it's scheduled to go up to 7 to 8%. Our fringe rate right now is about 52%, and with our national accreditation is a yearly fee of $5,600. I'm not going to go over the next two slides. I just put them here in case there's any question, but this is our revenues and expenditures to give us a balanced budget. Next slide. And this is just a breakdown of the per capita per town. Next slide. So our budget requests, as we try to keep it as modest as possible. We do tailor fitting when it comes to local public health services to our town and residents. So while all our towns get equal services, we do tailor fitting because the towns are a little bit different. At this time, the state has a 10% cut. We're hoping that it doesn't happen, but at this time we're bracing for it. And as far as our state and federal public health grants, they're on pause and we're waiting. And again, we're not just a department, we're a full service agency, and we've been serving the town of North Branford, along with our other towns, for the last 50 years. And I'll take any questions.
How is the health of the Farm River?
It does fluctuate, but at this time, what we're finding is we're doing microbial source tracking, and what that is when we do have contamination, we're doing the DNA analysis to do species identification. And while we have found some human, most of the bacteria we're finding right now is avian, and so we're working with local folks to identify birds and to see what population is not in balance. So overall, it does fluctuate with seasons and rainfall, but it seems to be improving.
So the water's getting better, not worse?
It seems to be over time, yes.
And how do you tell that? You do testing of it?
So we looked at studies throughout time. So past studies compared to some of our current studies.
For your studies now, you actually do water testing in the river?
Yes, we do, yes. And we're working with a PhD student from Brown University, along with some students from Yale to conduct that further investigation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The mosquito control, obviously it's in our budget, but you manage it.
Correct, yeah. It sits in your budget and we manage it. We negotiate the contracts. It's been flatlined for several years. All Habitat is our contractor, also serves as a contractor for most, if not all, shoreline towns. They do larviciding every year. And
They
so
don't
we,
spray, do they? Do they spray?
so we don't spray unless we absolutely have to. And we have not done that in over a decade.
So what is it they do?
So they put a biological agent, so a little background. Many years ago, they surveyed all the hot spots and breeding grounds for mosquitoes in our towns. And so we have a number of areas where we regularly treat with a larvicide. They go out there and they monitor it, and if the counts are high, they put a biological agent to keep the mosquitoes from breeding. When we get complaints, we send them out to do an investigation, and if necessary, we take care of those areas also. So it's strictly prevention.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Does anyone else have any questions? Okay. Thank you very much, Mike, for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So before we get into our part of the going through the budget and asking department head questions or stuff, Mike and I have, the town manager, have worked on putting together a little presentation just to try and answer a lot of the questions and comments that have been out there on social media, just to give some more information to the residents. Will this also go up on the town website also?
It will, and certain elements of it are also
Okay.
up there already, actually.
Okay,
but,
great.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Very
Mike,
good.
you want to start?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. So the first thing is I put together this infographic just to kind of demonstrate what the budget process is, sort of in a one-sheet a way for people to look at it. And just to remind everybody, we are just beginning step 3 of 5 steps. This graphic is now live and has been this week on the town website. So if anybody wants to check that out, or if people want to share it, that'd be great. Just kind of in a nutshell, sort of goes through the process, how it works. Right now we're in the process of conducting the We've done the public hearing. We're now in the phase where we're doing the town council workshops. There are 2 this week, today, Thursday the 10th, and then another one on the 22nd. So following this, the council is going to review the budget, ask the questions, make adjustments. The public has options to speak at both today's and Thursdays. And then it goes into the phase where the town council makes a recommendation after doing their deliberations and arriving at modifications that they want. It gets presented to, their recommended budget goes to the town for referendum. And again, the annual budget referendum is on May 13th. The polls are open from 12 to 8. There is absentee ballot voting. Registered voters can vote to approve the budget, reject it because it is too low, or reject it because it is too high. And a 15% threshold of registered voters must vote for the results of the referendum to be binding. Should the budget, at the referendum, if not enough people vote to hit the 15% threshold, the budget is automatically passed. If enough people turn out to oppose the budget, then it would go back to the town council. Town council would make a modification, and then once they pass it, it's passed. There is no second referendum. It doesn't go to multiple referendums until everyone likes it. It just only happens once in our current process under the charter. So again, this graphic is available on the website now, just to help illustrate quickly to everybody how this process works. For the council's benefit, primarily, this is the referendum deadlines for council action, just so you're aware of what we need to do to make sure that we have everything in line in time. The budget referendum, again, is on May 13th. The summary of the budget printed in the newspaper has to be May 2nd, 10 days prior to the budget referendum, and May 3rd is a Saturday, so we're also putting it on the website. The recommended budget books must be prepared for May 2nd, available to the public per statute 10 days prior to the budget referendum. The notice of the referendum goes in the newspaper no more than 15 days prior to the budget referendum, usually publishing the same day as a summary of the budget, and can also post on the town website. That would be May 2nd. Absentee ballots, there's 4 days. They have to be available 4 business days after the question is finalized, and the town clerk usually prints, and the town clerk needs them printed by Monday, April 20, have them finalized so they can get them printed by April 28th, 2025. So what we're looking at is ideally, the budget should be finalized by Tuesday, the 22nd. Thursday, the April 24th would be the kind of drop dead date for the council to take action to pass it, to make sure that all these deadlines are met. Just a quick a note. Obviously, we're facing with the proposed budget an 8.5% increase, which is what the council has received in my proposed budget before they've taken any action on it. We are not alone in facing these massive increases that are due to the revaluation process, the increase in residential property versus the commercial value, and also reductions in non-tax revenue. Some other towns that are facing very similar things that we are. Cheshire's got a proposed budget of 12.7% increase. Wallingford's got a whopping 19%. West Hartford has a 7.3%, and Middletown has a 9% increase. So just wanted to put that in perspective. There's actually an article in today's Current relative to that. I put that in every council member's folder too, so that's in there for all of you to take a look at. And this item, I believe the mayor wants to take over to discuss the pavilion item.
So I know there's been a lot of discussion on social media in regards to the pavilion and the use of ARPA funds. So the ARPA funding, actually, that came to us like 2 to 3 years ago is when we received ARPA funding from that. And because we were awarded less than $10 million, we had greater latitude on the projects. This is a picture of the pavilion up at STW on there. It is actually the same size as the pavilion at North Farms Park and also at Northford. It's the same size. It does look different because of the pitched roof and it being a metal roof. It's a standing seam roof on there, and that was due to the recommendation from the Permanent Project Building Committee. This project was referred to them, and it will greatly reduce our maintenance costs roofing. This was, before this was ordered, Parks and Rec Department had put this request in, and they did confer with our Director of Public Works also in regards to this project. We could not use ARPA funding to reduce the tax burden. That was very specific in the money and in the directions that we received from the federal government on there. It does definitely meet the guidance of an infrastructure project, and one of the reasons that is because it promotes an outdoor space in the interest of public health, and this was proposed. Basically, we have the summer camp program run through our Parks and Rec Department, and in a 9-week period, that program sees over 600 students go through the program, and it is increasing every year. And in addition to that, our seniors do not have any space outside to a shaded space where they can sit outside and they can have programs outside. They have no space. So this will be a dual purpose on there. Yes, it is built next to the pickleball courts. And during the daytime hours, Monday through Friday, when Park and Rec is open, they have first preference on this. If pickleballers use it at night on the weekends, so be it. It is there for public use, but Park and Rec has the say on it. And it can be rented also, just like the pavilions at North Farms Park and Northford Park. So there is the ability to get income from it. So this did not go out to bid because we are able, the town is able to seek cost from if the company is on the state contract, and the company that is used was on the state contract, so we did not have to go out to bid for this. The actual pavilion cost is $189,755, and then there were ancillary costs for sidewalks and ADA compliance for just over $90,000, and then equipment, which is basically the tables that will go underneath the pavilion to be used for our programming on this. And the council approved this on January 23rd of 2024. This was approximately a year after it was presented to the council. So this is not something that happened overnight. This started back in '22, so it was 3 years ago. So the permanent project did request, they recommended a roof change on there, which was an additional $20,000, and the cost of that came from the balance of our ARPA funding at roughly $9,500, and then it came from, the balance of it came from our park maintenance account that we have. And this was approved on October 22nd of 2024. And as I said, it's the same size as the other pavilions on here. And now I'd just like to talk a little bit about budget adjustments. Basically, the action that we take on the budget, which would be decreasing the budget on there. So from our budget summary page on there, these were the 4 areas that make up the increase to the town's budget. So town government operations is just over $1.5 million. The Board of Ed's increase is just over $2 million. Our capital improvements that have a direct effect on the mill rate are about $450,000, and the increase to debt service is about $550,000 from our current budget. Debt service cannot be touched. We cannot make any adjustments to debt debt service. So that leaves us 3 categories that we would be able to adjust the budget. So this is a little synopsis of what it would look like on a 1 mil decrease to the budget. So 1 mil is equal to just over $1.8 million. So if we decreased by 1 mil, both the town government and the Board of Ed would see significant reductions. On a $1.5 million reduction, we're at $2.7 million reducing on there. So the Board of Ed would receive a minimal increase. They're asking for $2 million and the town's asking for 1.5, so right there you have $3.5 million with no capital. At a 2 mil decrease, that is approximately 3.6, almost $3.7 million. So that means the Board of Education would receive no additional funding. Their budget would stay the same at their current funding level, which is $33.9 million. The town council would also not see any increase to it, and we would have to go into our current budget. Anything in our current budget, there would be cuts in order to reach this. Because between the Board of Ed and the town, we're at 3.5, so a 2 mil decrease, you're at almost 3.7 town. And we can't cut any further from the Board of Ed than their increase of what they're asking for, because the state has, by state statute, there's a minimum budget requirement, and we have to give them what they currently have in their budget. So we cannot cut their current funding levels, so we would only cut their increase. So they would have nothing, so the town would have to absorb everything else. And as you can see, on a 2.5 mil decrease, it's $4.6 million. We would see significant decreases on the town side and on capital. So that's what we're faced with on here. We understand it is a very difficult budget year. We are in the same position as all of the taxpayers, members of the town council and the town manager. We all live in this town. We all pay taxes in this town. We are all seeing the same types of increases that you are seeing. I did talk to the town assessor, and everyone on the council, and including the town manager, we are seeing the same types of increases. We are anywhere from a $1,000 increase to $3,400 increases in our taxes. So we do understand what you are going through. We will pay those increases. We are volunteers that are elected. We do not receive any tax breaks, and we pay our full tax bill on there. So I can say for myself, and I think I can talk for my colleagues on the council, we understand, and we are looking at this every line item. We are going through each department's budget, and we are going through this because we will see the same type of an effect that you will see on your taxes. So we do not take this lightly. And this is just a little recap. The other part of taxes is the motor vehicle tax. So I know everyone's been talking about their real estate taxes because there was a reassessment, and that's, even though there is a drop in the mill rate, you will still see an increase in your real estate taxes. But on the flip side of that, when we look at the picture, we also look at the motor vehicle tax. We look at the total tax picture, so it's real estate and motor vehicle. And motor vehicle, there will be slight decreases in your motor vehicle taxes because of the decrease in the mill rate. We were at the max mill rate on our motor vehicles. That now goes away for us, and it'll be the same mill rate that is set for motor vehicle as it is on your real estate. So there will be a slight decrease in your motor vehicle tax. And that's it.
That's it.
So, Okay. So the next part of the agenda is basically our opportunity for the council to start going through the budget, department by department. I have already done that and have some questions, not necessarily expecting answers tonight on these. It'll be posed to department heads, and any information they will need to get back to us, that's what Thursday night's about on here. So I am just...
Madam Mayor, I did want to note, we have the homeowners adjustment on the agenda as well.
Okay.
Madam Mayor?
Is there a motion or just this memo?
Just the memo from the assessor.
So do we have to put this into a motion?
If you want to
Right.
enact it, yes.
Okay, so as part of the budget, you will see on the budget, there is a local elderly tax credit that we have talked about at other meetings prior to this, and it is the recommendation from our assessor that we increase the dollar value for people to qualify on this. And this has been discussed at previous meetings. The town's current limit right now is $50,000 for individuals, and the state is $45.2 thousand, and for married couples, the town's limit is $61,000, and the state limit is $55.1 thousand. The tax assessor is proposing that we raise the town limits to $60,000 for individuals, $70,000 for married couples, and also that, so that we don't have to do this every year, that we adjust the limits to match the percentage increase of the state program on there. So we just need a motion to increase our limits and to adjust the limits annually.
I'll make a motion to, as recommended by Dave Ambrose, town assessor, raising the town limits to $60,000 and $70,000 for married respectfully. Additionally, recommending the adjusted limits annually to match the percentage increase of the state program.
Second.
Motion has been made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Abelson. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. And so by doing this, this will increase the credit on our, from currently at $125,000 is our limit. It was our dollar amount limit, and it's increasing it up to $140,000. So seniors will be able to apply for this, and these limits will go into effect for July 1st on there. And I know, Dave, is there a time frame as to when they need to apply for this?
The sunset date is May 15th, 2020.
And that takes effect then for the July 1st? Okay, so in order to apply for these benefits, you need to meet the income requirement, and you also have to apply at the assessor's office by May 15th of 2025, and it becomes effective for July 1st, 2025 on there. Okay.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I just want to thank Mike, going back to the slides, that you put the signs out early.
Yeah.
So I've noticed them driving through the town, so thank you.
Okay. So I am just gonna start with the first department and kind of just go down the list. And if anyone has anything else as we move along, please feel free to jump in and ask. So the first thing is, and I know this took place last year, and I noticed it, we made these corrections, and I see they're back again to make the corrections again. And it's because the council only meets once a month. Last year, we reduced the number of meetings for the clerk, for the mayor's office, for the mayor and council, and we reduced it from 28 to 16. And I see that it's back to 28 again in the budget here. So can you just make a note of this so that you can make this, do this motion to come back to us? And the second thing is, under other contractual, for other, which is pins, plaques, and flowers, the old $3 is coming up again. Last year, this was corrected to 300, which I believe is what it was supposed to be. So if that change can be made on there. I have a question in regards to the audit. So is this the last, or I should say last fiscal year? Or is it this fiscal year is the last one out of the, so the 24-25 fiscal year is the 5th year out of the, in the audit?
No, this is the 25 audit is 82,000, there'll be one more after that, 82.5 to 26 audit.
Oh, because there's a note that says
It said,
out to
yeah,
bid.
yeah, no.
So I just didn't know if we were in our final year.
Negative.
Okay. All right. And you'll notice here that Totucket TV was increased by $4,000. That's the difference when Walter Mann came to us at our last council meeting, and because of funding cuts, he actually was going to be more short than the $4,000, but with the change in the lease, that gave him some of the money, so we put into the budget just to make up the difference, which is $4,000 on there. So, and let me see ones here. So I know we print up these nice budget books here, and we get, different colors depending on when it's proposed and whatever else. Are we going more digital, and can we reduce? I know we reduced the number to 100, from 100 to 50 for this year, but can we even reduce it more for next year?
Yeah, the very final version, that's within the council, we do like 25 or 30 the most. Most of the department heads get it. We throw a couple in each of the libraries. We minimize the final version. Now, the wild card is the initial one. You don't know who's going to show up at the budget meeting looking for a book. That's we always go heavier there, and we kind of scale it down throughout the process. That's the most your recommended is reduced, and then the final adoption is reduced even further because it's online. People can get it, and it's only typically the departments and like the public-facing departments, like the rec department and the libraries, get it for have on their calendars in case anybody's got a question. We have reduced it a lot. I can reduce it further if you'd like.
Yeah, I think in this day and age, if you can make up a motion for us, reduce that in half again, on there. Does anyone else have anything under mayor and council? Okay. The next one I have something for here is town manager. So I noticed on here, pre-employment physicals, drug testing, random drug testing on here. So is this another one of those categories that we're taking out of other departments and moving in here?
It is.
Okay. And what are those numbers based on? Because it's 30 people for pre-employment physicals and drug testing and 30 background checks. I mean, that's the bulk of this. And the random drug testing is for what?
The random drug testing is for anybody with a commercial driver's license.
CDL.
Yeah, but do we belong to a program?
Yeah.
And so someone calls us and says, John Smith has to go at this time, or do you pick them randomly? There's different ways that you can go about doing that.
Yeah, we belong to a testing consortium. They pull randoms quarterly. And then there's program fees.
So is this a set price, this $7,500? Or does that vary?
As long as the total number of drivers doesn't vary, the number of random tests doesn't change, but there are wild cards. If the driver tests positive, there's supplemental testing that we have to do.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
some other things to do.
So that is pretty much stable. We can't cut that.
There's not a lot that you can move on there.
Okay. What about the pre-employment physicals and the background checks at 30 each? That's roughly $9,500 between those two. Are we traditionally around that number? Are we less than that? Is there any wiggle room in there at all?
Maybe. I'm not sure what the scale is against what we did last year.
If you can just
We can
check that
check
out,
on
because
that.
that account line has a $5,000 increase over current year. So just want to see if there's any wiggle room there. Does
The
anyone?
hard part there is you don't know who's gonna, openings, right? You don't know if half the town's gonna quit tomorrow, then you're gonna have a lot more pre-employment physicals. It's kind of like a little bit of a guess.
It is,
How many
but
job openings.
historically,
Yeah, we can get you.
can we, I mean, based on historical data, I'm not so sure that we would be in that
Yeah,
situation.
we can get you something that'll give you
Be
like a sense of
realistic.
scale
Yeah.
on it.
So I understand it's a crapshoot, and it is one of those things, but historically, I don't know if,
Yeah, it's something we have to look to sharpen the pencil.
okay. Finance is the next department here. Okay. So, was there a change in staffing between part-time and full-time in finance?
Yes.
Because I remember account clerk 1, Nuzzo, being part-time payroll. And if she's not listed under part-time anymore, she's under full-time. And just wondering, I had not heard anything about that we were increasing that position to full-time. And why? Because it's a big increase from current budget.
Yeah, we did move her into full-time in an effort to shore up the finance department, handle the increased workload happening over there?
It increased in payroll? Because, I mean, is she just doing payroll?
Negative.
No.
The thought is to give her some of the additional duties that are not getting done in that additional hours that she would get, whether it's assisting with the bank recs or cash management or other functions that she's currently not doing, but more than capable of doing and willing to do.
Okay. All right, I mean, this is the first that I'm hearing of that we, are looking to increase in that department, and we've have the same number of people right now that we've had for the last several years, and there's been no previous talk on that, so I think that's one that the council needs to discuss a little bit more on that one there. As far as just, part of it is, for me at least, is just understanding why we're increasing it now when we haven't had it in the past.
So she is full-time now?
No,
Part-time.
no, she's part-time.
It's an increase in hours.
It's, you're probably looking somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000 between, benefits and salary. Because I looked it up in last year's budget to see what it was in there for.
So who's filling the gap now?
It's not getting done.
Okay.
But it was before, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so, and that begs to the question of, I know we had 2 people retire in that department, but we filled the positions also. So,
Is the learning curve? Is that essentially what
I-
we're seeing here?
I don't
Learning
know.
curve? So it's getting
Ties
someone up
into
to
the
speed.
whole Munis situation too. We
Yeah, Munis is supposed to save us time, not, I mean, I know we've had plenty of round and round on that, but it's been kind of a harbinger of difficulty.
Well, would it be appropriate for Mike to come to us with a proposal?
Yeah, I mean, I think we
Just
need,
make it
we need to have some,
background.
yeah, as to why this is on here.
Tough cuts.
So if you make her full-time, you're not gonna hire a part-time employee?
Negative.
They have a,
That's what I was gonna ask, there's a position there, is that another whole position for a part-timer below that?
No, it's increasing the part-timer to a full-timer.
that was her position. It
51
says 0 in there.
This is-
Right,
yeah.
but you're not gonna fill that, right?
No.
Here.
Right. So we had, in the current budget, 48,000 in part-time. And the increase from, of course, part-time to full-time, if you look at 24, 25 to 25, 26, is obviously more than the $48,000. So, and there is, there is a part-time person in there right now catching them up on bank recs, learning the bank recs, getting them up to date because they weren't getting done. But that position is not projected to go forward. It's a temporary part-time position on there. And then the other thing in finance is under other contractual. So the Munis training for 5,000,
That
what,
was what we talked about.
It's in there, there's belongs in the technology department. It was taken out of finance.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was already moved. We're not
Yeah.
double counting it.
No, that's, we talked.
Okay. Okay. All right. Does anyone else have any questions under finance?
That was a question I had as well. Answered it.
Okay, central services. So we have under, let's see here. Okay, so natural gas, we have the Reynolds Beers House here. So are we actually paying at the Reynolds Beers House? Do we actually have bills? Because I know the Historical Society also pays gas bills. So are there 2 meters on the Reynolds Beers House?
Yeah, not sure about that.
Unless there's one in the barn.
Barn's not heated.
I mean, it's not heated, right?
Nope. So it's Reynolds Beers for gas and, electric. Because they're also under electric, and the Historical Society pays electric also. So I would hope that if they are, I can't believe that both of us are paying on it. So if you can check on that. And last year, we talked about letterhead, the printing of letterhead. Do we still, I thought it was all digital. I thought we got rid of.
It is, we do it all on digital.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's a motion, there's $1,500 in here, which I thought we had cut out last year because it's digital. And
Here?
on telephone, I'm very confused as to, I thought telephone moved to central services, but I still see it in other departments. So is it moved, not moved? What's included in central services? What department is included in central? What's not included? Because I thought this was a discussion that we had during the budget workshops, that there were certain things that were moving to central services. One of them was telephone. But yet I saw telephone in a lot of other departments. So I'm not exactly sure what that explanation is.
Yeah, I'll check on that.
And
It should have been moved to central services.
Right.
Is there a reason for the increase? From
I'm not aware.
almost a $3,000 increase?
I think it's that last line in there, the cell phone management.
Security, 65 lines?
Yeah, it's right now, it's kind of like the Wild West with no control over anything. I think this is a proposal that Mike and Dennis are putting forward to, kind of like I'll get an answer for you.
Well, so, under telephone, let me just ask,
From private phones, right?
does this include
We don't have a group rate.
our handsets that are in,
Cell phones?
this is strictly cell phones?
No, I'm saying, are you looking at?
And so this includes cell phones and also our phones that are in the buildings?
the
Is that-
voice over,
Voice
Should.
over IP?
Yep.
So the contract for the VoIP, is that going up, or is it just a cell phone service?
I think it's just an additional cell phone line.
What constitutes the 65 lines? Is that 65 individual cell phones?
Yeah, cell phones, data, and
Data
ones.
for, so there are
iPads.
65 phone
Accounts.
/ iPad accounts that,
so it's a line charge and all that stuff, so there shouldn't be cell phone in other departments?
No. This is an additional forget the word I'm trying to use, like you have on your computer, antivirus kind of, you want to call it that.
Malware?
Malware, kind of protection where right now, no one's got anything, you can go, again?
Repeat it.
Could be, yeah, it's just more of a way to secure the phones, I guess, and that's what they're trying to say that we're.
Cybersecurity measure.
Cybersecurity, keep you off malicious sites.
Mm-hmm.
A lot, because a lot of the phones, you can talk, you can get onto the network with the phone, so if the phone gets polluted, it potentially could impact the network
So are these Androids or iPhones?
combination.
Okay, so
Standard.
Androids can get hacked, iPhones cannot. So if we went to all iPhones, we wouldn't have to use a VPN.
I believe.
Just,
I
thanks,
give.
thanks, Anthony. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I'm just-
again, Michael, or should probably be here to answer
My
the
guess
questions.
is
He's
there's
just,
lots
this
of
is the budget I proposed, so.
I think there's
Okay.
a lot that we haven't opened.
It's just, it's,
Old technology, particularly, I have an iPad. so-
okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
When it
If
comes
we-
to
if-
telephones, that's.
I think we need to audit the 60, just to make sure we have the 65 correct. I know it's not going to be easy to do that, but I think there may
What's your
be
bill
some.
right now?
No, not a matter of it being,
Devices.
are the 65 active devices or some of them not
Yeah.
active? Okay, I just wondered if there was some that we may not have as active.
There's 65.
So there's some, they're being utilized, not just,
Yeah, these aren't like we have some floating out there that we don't know where they are.
Okay, that's what I was
We-
asking,
we've-
just
They're
in case.
This is
accounted
all
for,
the
right.
police, fire, rec, the
gotcha.
whole shooting match.
Okay.
everybody, yeah.
I mean, it's not an atrocious number, 65 doesn't seem outlandish, but just figured I'd ask that question.
So did we move telephone and cell to central services, or is it still divided between departments? Were we trying to centralize?
I think
I
the
believe that's what we
cells are
did.
still in the department.
Yeah, that might be why that, you're seeing that.
And what, the actual phone line, the VoIP?
If you have a TPX phone, voice over IP, that's living in one bill, living in central services. Other ones are split.
How do we move them all there?
So basically, this is the increases for the VPN for the
I don't like
devices.
to,
Primarily.
why don't we do them now?
Yeah.
Can we look to move them all into essential services so we have all telecommunication in that one area?
Certainly.
I mean, it's not a cut in the budget, because you're just moving
No,
it
it's
from one
just
department to another, but
Easier to maintain.
well, it's just easier to understand if you're going to move something from a department and say you're moving the phones over here, and then all of a sudden, something in the budget doesn't get moved, and then you have a line charge there for a department, but, oh, no, that really is in central services. It's just very hard to follow and to make sure. Under equipment maintenance and central services, we're still running the AS400. What is that? What, there's maintenance on the AS400 system. I thought we went all to Munis.
We're off that, yeah, that should not be in there.
492?
Well, there's two of them, 492, and what's Terminal 1
168.
Finance?
One terminal. Yeah, no.
All right, so that can be striked? Struck?
Okay. All right.
Car washing.
And under postage, is this, I see it's 26,000 for postage. Is this for all departments in town, or just certain things? Is it mainly, does this for the tax bills that go out?
All of the above.
So this.
Permits, the mailbox fees, we have a mailbox for the tax collection, PO box, that goes through there. The annual permit, and Jerry just got this past week, to renew the annual bulk mailing permit, that goes through that.
So the town does have a bulk mailing permit?
Yes.
And any department can use it because you pay your own postage, correct? It's just you get the permit and then you have the bulk mailing
You gotta bring,
permit?
yeah, you bring it to Branford.
Right.
That's only stipulation,
Yeah.
Right, yeah. But, so, any other departments should not have a postage line? Because I did see postage in other departments, and that's why I'm just asking. what this
The
is.
registrars have it because they come in with some significant amount of postage, so we want them to reflect the cost they have on their postage. Anything else besides that that has anything that.
I saw some in Park and Rec, I saw some in one of the other commissions for postage. And there's small amounts, I mean, we're not talking large amounts, but it's the whole idea of centralizing. If you're centralizing here, we need to look at all the departments and make sure you're not listing them there in budgets.
The Red School is not being covered by.
The Little Red Schoolhouse is from the,
$1,000 there.
is, well, the fundraising and all the work is being done by the Historical
Correct,
Society.
there's 1,000 on that line item here underneath facilities maintenance.
I don't know, Franny, does the town do any maintenance on the Little Red Schoolhouse?
We used to until they started the project,
So can that be taken out as other town buildings, Little Red Schoolhouse, et cetera, or is there something else?
but I don't know, are they done? I don't think they're done with the project yet.
They're almost done, they're in the, yeah, I don't know, you know.
Find out.
They certainly don't have electricity in the Little Red
No, they don't.
Schoolhouse, right? And, I know they did the roof, I mean, that was all money that they raised
Yeah.
and the painting and, you know, they're doing a lot of that stuff themselves.
When it was having issues, we used to go up there and just patch holes and stuff.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, so that wasn't deteriorating.
Yeah.
But that, it says et cetera, so you don't want to cut something out that if there's something else that is needed for it. Is there another thing that's needed for it?
I'm not aware of, I mean, there's.
Okay, so we
there's
can
vandals.
realistically cut that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So account unit for them, Joe.
Facilities maintenance under town hall, I'm sorry, under town hall.
It's under other town
Under other-
buildings.
Yes, other town buildings. Last line item before totals.
We'd be covered underneath the town line.
I have a question. I'm just curious, it's just a curiosity. When I see miscellaneous, it raises my eyebrows. I see under office supplies miscellaneous all town buildings. What exactly, it's for $7,500?
Under which,
Under which?
56,120, under office supplies, line item. I have the big book, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's $7,500.
And then I see it on another part where other contractual, same thing for another 2,000.
Not seeing it. What department?
56,120, central services,
Central Services?
Yep.
it's
office supply.
office.
It says miscellaneous, all
first-
town buildings, $7,500. It says miscellaneous, just curious what they got. I mean, you could put anything in miscellaneous.
I don't know, is that paper clips and things?
Well, it says,
Paper clips.
So that's for the-
tape. It's, I mean, you can't budget, 37 boxes of pens and 12 boxes of pencils and 3 things of paper clips. It's a rough number.
I would, the only reason why I asked that,
Yeah.
if it said paper clips, whatever, et cetera, then it makes sense. But when you have miscellaneous, you can put
Yeah,
anything
no,
in
it
miscellaneous.
could be a little more detailed.
And that's the
Yeah.
same thing with the
Office
contractual work,
supplies.
2,000 yearly. And what's miscellaneous contractual work? Under other contractual, 55990, item number.
Oh, you mean the other contractual?
Yeah, yep.
Of $31,000?
It says year, no, it says yearly, 2,000.
You have a page.
29.
Okay. It's all fine.
I'm sorry,
No, it's okay. It's,
I'm on the big book.
yeah, that's,
I'm in the binder.
you're in the binder.
This is that's why I wanted it.
Copy machine?
Yeah, you can notes on it.
I mean,
So are all the leases for the copy machines under central services?
Yes, I believe they are.
This is the whole town, complete all the buildings?
I believe so.
Okay, that's another area we need to check because I saw copiers in other departments.
Yeah, that
And-
stuff should all be here, just in here.
And so I see there's pest control here. Are there other, is this for all? It says town hall, but,
Quarterly.
yeah, but are there other buildings that have pest control and do we do them all under one contract or does everyone do their own pest control? Because my guess would be, it would be better if we had one contract that serviced all of the town buildings.
I think it's one service, if I'm not mistaken.
We don't have the department head for here?
One for here.
I think there's like Orkin,
Yeah, I don't
some
see
buildings use Orkin, some people use Waltham.
I'm assuming school uses.
I mean,
Well, the school's separate, that's
It's
their
the other-
budget, that's
Yeah.
their
it's the other
budget.
department.
But
heads here.
all other town buildings.
Yeah, I saw this.
You just signed a separate contract? Okay, so police has a separate one. Okay.
Right, so.
Franny, do you have pest control?
No.
Okay.
It's no pest.
They attract them.
Food pantry has their own, yes.
So would it be advantageous to go under one pest control service for
Well, that's,
our town buildings? And not including, I don't know about the police department.
well, he just signed a contract, so I'm not exactly sure.
We got
I mean,
pest
it,
control.
I would think that you would get a better rate if you lumped them all together on
Right.
there, rather than everyone doing their own. So I guess you need to talk to the department heads and see what contracts they have, when they expire, and how we can try to centralize that. Okay. That's all I had for central services right now. Does anyone else have anything else?
No, I had the copier question as well, because I saw it a couple
Copier?
times, but we're gonna get some clarity on that.
Yes.
So I can make a discussion on that. Everything is
Which doesn't work.
Did you have a question, Bruce?
So under central services, you have two line items, phone system, phone service, telephone. Right. You're requesting for central services, the fire alarm. Did you replace that with cellular? Not, yes?
Yes.
And that's,
I don't know, this, I guess Mike's not here, I don't know exactly what's in the budget, but the,
Why isn't he here?
so we have 12 cell phones. Isn't that not part of the other?
those cell phones for the fire alarm are not part of the monitoring number.
So what is what are the 12 cell phones?
I can get the numbers, but it's cell lines through our alarm company.
So, that's not what I'm saying. So you're at, so the 12 cell phone here, so you have 65 units on the other, and then you have a 12 additional units.
No, 12 months. Recent 12 different.
Units requested 12. Or is that just monthly?
Yeah, monthly.
Okay, then my bad. So this is strictly for, then it's one cell phone?
I'd have to, again, have Mike come in and talk about it. The fire alarm at town hall is one line. We pay the monitoring company, and then we have a cell phone that we got off the copper wires and went to cell for the.
So this cell phone is for the
No,
monitoring?
that cell phone, you see the word cell phone, that's Michael's cell phone.
Okay. And the miscellaneous phone charges?
I don't know. Changing numbers, I don't know.
Sound like? Okay. A little confusing.
Okay. I do not have anything on assessor, tax collector. If anyone has any questions, let me just see this here.
One more.
Yep, go
The
ahead.
reimbursement for the travel is, didn't that go up to 71 cents a mile? Because the 58 cents a mile is
Yeah,
from,
there's no money budgeted, that's not, the line's not used.
okay. So there's no reimbursement to anybody.
Yeah, because in a department that does get mileage reimbursement, they are using 70 cents
Okay.
as the rate. On there.
Usually lock it in the beginning of the year, like I go on the IRS website now,
Right.
for next year's budget, you lock in whatever the number is now.
Well, it's 70 cents.
So on the assessor, that the telephone would be lumped in somewhere else,
Are we an
there's no
assessor?
zeros here,
Exactly.
right?
And we'll have that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Jason, in the back.
Hey, Dave, is it required to have a physical grand list book, or can we save by making that digital and not having to buy
For the
them?
first time ever, quality data, Crystal Books 4 was at no charge.
So can we knock out this 13.5?
Is that for,
Yeah, binding grand list books. We have it at 13,500, or 13, not 30,000, $1,350.
yeah, that can go.
Okay, let's wipe that one. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Near map is what we did. That was the contractors did.
Near map is split between the assessor's office
And the
and planning.
Right.
So
Zoning. It's,
all in, you're about 8 grand, a little over 8 grand for that?
Correct.
yeah,
Okay,
because we had a partial year.
yeah.
And we had to catch up,
Yeah.
and now it's,
And now it's on contract.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
yep.
And then what's the CAM
What's the
web hosting?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, what's the
What's the CAM
CAMA
web hosting?
CAMA
Not
web
technology.
hosting?
That's our data, online data. So if you go online and look at your assessments, that's.
The online database, the assessor's online database,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
which has been getting a lot of views.
yes.
And then your,
Smoking right
your
now.
maintenance agreement is higher than the contract itself.
The, for GDS.
Says the maintenance agreement with GIS, it's close to 10,000.
Is
I'm not sure what that is.
GIS is different than the
That's the
assessor's.
global-
Well,
satellite
that's
system.
That's kind of bond.
Yeah.
Because it's
They
both of them
service
together?
us-
So it's
they
both,
service us along with
The-
land use also.
gotcha.
So it's almost 20 grand for the whole thing? Is that you, it just lives in your,
That's our share,
you live in your budget, so it's,
Right.
okay. Is it 50/50?
50/50.
That's a high game.
That is.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, just see if it's 20, I mean, it's right here, we're off by under $180 or so off of 20 grand, so it's a sizable amount.
Yeah, I'll have an answer for you tomorrow.
Hey, thank you very much.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything on assessors?
Yeah, pension and social security, what's going on with those numbers? I'm not tracking that.
For what, in the assessor's office?
Yeah.
What page are you on?
It's pretty similar to last year. 1240, 436 budgeted for social security, 12,582.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm a tax collector.
Oh,
Sorry. Come on, follow along.
No, she's right on target. If you look at the budget for current year is 11,261, going to 11,454. And retirement, 15,912, going to 16,139. It's just a function of wage increases.
Right.
I was looking at
We're gonna go to
the,
the Board of Assessment.
last year was 11.2, right?
Because what the hell is that?
The line, I'm
Yeah,
looking
I
at the top line,
know.
and then
Well, that's
proposal for this,
Keep going. I saw that, I don't.
Are we
or
ready
am
to-
I reading that
Just like-
wrong, yeah?
You look at
The 27,
What do you want to do?
On,
Right, it's going from 12,000,
Board of
or
Assessment.
11,261 to 27,000.
Can I move
Which
forward?
seems like a large increase if nothing.
No, that's interesting. Yeah, that's only showing the 52,200 there. 52,300 is not showing in that. So it's not an apples to apples comparison. I can, that's the way it's showing there. Good catch.
Anthony, on Board of Assessment Appeals, there's payment to Board of Assessment Appeals members
Yep.
to the tune of 1,500. What's that?
That's us.
They get $500 a year to sit on the Board of Assessment Appeals.
Yeah, each member that sits on the board gets paid $500 to do it.
Is that by ordinance?
Good question.
I didn't.
No,
I mean-
actually,
I mean,
Is that our only
board that
board that
gets
gets
paid?
paid?
yes,
I'm gonna say, I didn't,
yep,
okay, I didn't know that.
yeah.
It's way more than we got.
Yeah. it's-
those seats up for bid.
Is that
I'm
on?
gonna increase you by 100%. Make sure they put that on Facebook, okay? Pretty empty seats too, it's interesting.
Okay, so are we on to town attorney now, after Board of Assessment Appeals?
Yep.
So how many contracts do we have upcoming in this? Do we have any?
One, Public Works, which will come up before you.
I thought we
probably.
just did Public Works.
You have not had it before you. We just.
No, but I mean for next year.
Oh,
How
next
many?
year? None.
None.
Right, okay.
We still have,
So,
I'm not in here.
so there's a budget of 25,000 for contract negotiations for the town attorney. And if we don't have any contracts that are up for next year. We do have pension
Yeah.
for police. I don't know if that falls, I guess it would fall under that.
Yeah, I'm not sure
contract.
exactly what falls in and out of that, so I'll clarify.
Can we, yeah.
Is there a
can we-
reduction ability there? Like, you know, being that we don't have less this year
Right,
coming?
that's.
Certainly explore that, yeah.
Yeah.
I could draw it up because you can get it for free.
Yeah, so
Noted.
I thought we just did, the year before, we did 3, and we just did Public Works, so we should be pretty,
We're gonna have a year off and then,
okay.
Yeah, and then we get hit again.
well, we
Okay.
staggered it so that we're actually gonna get 2 and 2.
Okay, so if you can check with Brian on that, that would be great.
Where is,
Okay, now we're on technology.
oh, yeah, there's a couple in there.
Yeah,
Can I ask you a question for the town attorney?
sure.
We're gonna have an increase in litigation, like he's expecting to have an increase in litigation?
There was a rate increase.
Yeah, I don't know that it reflects an anticipated,
I-
that
just-
we're gonna have more lawsuits, but
So
I think.
this was a
it's-
rate increase?
Yeah, he has a rate increase in for us. And we did not get a rate increase from them the
We-
prior year, just in that.
Right, we don't
Yeah.
have,
Prior
there's
2
not a
years.
rate increase in the monthly
We're
retainer.
probably one of the least
Yeah.
I would imagine so. It was negotiated very
expensive
well.
for Bertram, yeah.
Yeah.
This
It's-
is a large increase for litigation.
Litigation is a misnomer. It's basically everything outside of the retainer. So anything that he has to do,
You ask for an opinion?
he asks for an opinion.
That's litigation.
That's-
That falls under that
Okay,
code.
okay.
Yeah,
It's not just litigation.
Right, it's
Money
everything
well
outside of the
spent.
retainer.
I'm going to law school.
Yeah. All right, on to technology.
Okay, so on technology,
There's an area in the Dropbox one.
yes. So
So-
I thought we got rid of Dropbox last year,
Yeah.
and I see it's back in here again. Do we use Dropbox anymore? I thought we didn't.
We are
Because-
still using it.
Well, we have,
I thought we got rid of it last year, and I thought we were on the OneDrive, and
I think that's where he's trying to get to. I don't see what this is, timeframe.
Because we cut it out last year. And what, under data processing, what is phase 2 of the RPIP?
Regional Performance Enhancement Program. You recall last year, we went through contingency, and SROG was offering a program where they would come in and, in the case of cybersecurity, go through and do an analysis of issues on our system. That was phase 1, we paid through contingency. Phase 2 is this $3,000 roughly. And again, they've got some suggestions of things that we want to implement, whether it's an enhanced antivirus program or doing some other cybersecurity measures. Phase 3 would be, again, once they figure out what phase 2 looks like, phase 3 could be in the neighborhood of 10+ thousand, depending on what they come back with. So this is kind of, we've kind of gone down that path of the cybersecurity model and have them come in and do an analysis, and they did come up with a list of things that they're working with Dennis on. And I know one of the things, like I said, is the proof point that we use for our email security. They have another product that they recommend that's more robust. There's a couple of things that they have suggestions on. I think that's what the 3280 covers in phase 2 of that cybersecurity work.
Okay. And I also see under data processing here, a lot of GIS stuff. GIS
stuff,
maintenance,
That's more.
additional GIS work, GIS work, MIS or MS4 mapping. And what's the GIS that's in the assessor's office too for 20,000? I mean, there's a lot of
Half
GIS.
that.
They maintain our maps.
Mayor, the MS4 is the stormwater program, so mapping catch basins and pipes and what have you. We still have some more to update.
Okay. All right. So I guess my question is, these 3 GIS things are totally separate from the GIS that's in the assessor things for $20,000, and if that's a split cost between him and planning and zoning?
Well, I don't, it's the same company that services all our departments.
I don't believe there's a second half of planning and zoning. I believe it's all in the assessors.
On GIS?
Yes, on the GIS, yeah. There's no line item for that in the planning and zoning.
Okay.
I can answer for it.
What about-
They use it quite extensively, though. They do use it a lot, quite extensively.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine if they use it, it's just,
Just wonder if
there's
we paid
a
different
lot of,
bills.
Yeah,
Right.
there's a lot of.
what's included in what? It
Yeah.
seems like,
There could be some repetition.
right.
And speaking of, maintenance for Munis
Munis
seems
is
is pretty high.
$46.
Is that contractual? Or is that something that we've budgeted
Says
because
annual.
of some of the issues we've had?
Negative, that's contractual.
Says
So
annual.
46 is, we cannot reduce that. Well, that stinks.
What's the
Okay.
maintenance? That's what I want.
And then under other contractual, the first line item, services related to technology as needed, 110,000?
That's
Like,
basically Dennis.
that's all Dennis? What is he, a 1099 employee?
Yes,
Yeah.
he is still. That was something that was considered to change? That you,
I don't know.
We would like to look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, do you really want to take him on? You really want to put him on as a full-time employee?
No, I didn't know what that was. It was such a large dollar amount, and it just says services related as needed.
We should have
So
full-time,
just
Jeff.
wondering what those services are. I mean, it's an IT, he's doing it as a 1099 employee. I mean, he's responsible for it and
Yeah.
everything else. I get it, but not exactly sure. I mean, as Mike has indicated, they're going to look at that, and
Yeah.
I think it does need to be looked at.
How many hours a week does he work?
Full-time. Some weeks Saturdays, Sundays, holidays, he's there. After hours, if you gotta do a backup of the computer, he's here at night doing backups, going to the NDIS where the data center is. I mean, he's he's invaluable. Walking through all this this nightmare, he's holding our hands through the whole thing. I couldn't do it without him.
Which is fine, I just need an explanation.
Not saying that he isn't, just asking. I was hoping you wouldn't say 20 hours.
That's a large, that's a large number for a 1099 employee.
Yeah.
Just, he wants to take that on. He doesn't charge, he just charges us the flat fee.
Has an hourly rate, and then he basically bills us on a bi-weekly basis how many hours he puts in.
It was modified last year. First increase yet.
He also helps us with elections during early voting, or during the weekends, all the
He's
election.
doing a lot.
Here,
Okay,
we, like people on staff.
okay. So, under here, other contractual, the Dropbox, can you check into
Yeah, I
that?
got a note to check that with Dennis.
And, let's see. And Office 365,
Yeah.
so that's a huge number for licenses.
Our
So-
licenses are all expiring on Office 365, and this is, we're looking to get off of GoDaddy, who we have them through currently, and get them to Omni Data, which is our maintenance for our network. And what that will allow is a common login and password. So right now, if you ask anybody what their email password is, most of them don't know.
Oh,
But it's going to be your same network login will be your email password. So it all kind of marries up and through Active Directory, that you can get one sign-on to get everything. And again, you see the government level in there. We're contemplating, there's, again, going back to cybersecurity, there's like the off-the-shelf Office 365, and they have government level licenses, which are more secure. I know Jimmy's got them over at the PD. There's like G1, G3. There's different levels of how secure you want to get, how much infrastructure behind you are. Are you on a common server that anybody in the world could be on? Are you on a dedicated server? So there's different levels that we're still trying to explore what makes the most sense for us. Do we need to go that crazy, or can we do like a half step and improve our security but not break the bank kind of thing?
Okay, so this Office 360,
365.
does it include police, or police is totally separate?
Police are separate, and Jimmy's budget's still separate.
Okay. So this is everyone except
Everybody
police?
else in the world, yeah, all the different departments.
Okay.
You
Okay,
guys, Office 365, so it's, there's a lot.
okay. Under office equipment, replace town hall camera system.
Yeah, if you go into the finance office now, I think it's like a 12 screen on there, of which like 6 of them are working. It's not the best system. We had a situation a couple weeks back where we had something happen in front that we were trying to view the cameras and see if we could see the situation. And it's next to impossible. And again, there's multiple cameras out of the grid of 12 cameers.
How old is that
So-
system?
So-
You
It's
gotta
not,
guess. It's not that old.
It's, I wouldn't say it's new. I don't know the exact date for it.
so
It's
would
a
it
little
make
old.
sense that we're connected with the police department?
It would make sense, when this was put in, to be 100% blunt, there was a lot of pushback from the council at the time that they wanted no outside access to the system. And it makes no sense at all, because if you're getting robbed, and the police department can see the robber, or not a robber, but whatever,
An
they should be able to see
incident,
that.
if there's an
Yeah, if there's an
incident.
issue,
That makes sense.
they should be able to see it. And when we put this in place, and it's probably close to 10 years ago now, believe it or not, it goes back a while. There was a strong pushback from the council not to have outside access, whether it was multiple factors. So I think you're 100% on the right track. I mean, the police department should definitely have access to our cameras to see if there's issues. And that can be arranged by simply opening up a port with the DVR we have there and have them access. But the prior decision from the council many years ago was that wasn't something that you wanted to get involved with.
So let's look at that.
Let's fix that.
This number's a little low, though.
Well, that,
I'm just,
I think it needs to be
It's a
corrected,
kit in a box.
and let's get a number that's realistic.
So, yeah. It's just definitely not working now. I mean, we had a car tumble across the whole front yard. We
That's
didn't see
the
it.
incident that was.
Yeah. Yeah, we know the incident you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're aware.
everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Could have sold that to the TV station.
We could, yeah, make some
Make the
balance the
budget.
budget, maybe, yeah.
Some YouTube clicks, here we go.
okay, so,
I'll get some.
Thank you.
UPS for the North Branford Intermediate School, wouldn't that go under the
We replaced it. That's why it's like the zero now.
Zero.
there's nothing there.
That's just left over. We replaced that last year.
Okay.
Okay. Yep, I'm done with technology.
nothing
Does
else there.
anyone else have anything? Okay.
General government?
Well, town clerk is next. Does anyone have anything for town clerk in here?
I do not.
Okay. Planning and Zoning
Actually-
Commission, they have, I know they meet twice a month, so that in theory would be 24 meetings a year, but I know they generally cancel some of those on there. So can we reduce the number of meetings? If we just look historically, roughly an average of, I know it's not a lot, but,
Well, if you go look at the, yeah, there's probably some wiggle room there. I'll talk to Dave Perkins.
okay. Okay, so now we're in planning and zoning.
Legal notices, what's the, it's a 1,500 for legal notices for advertisement of those legal notices in publications like the Shoreline?
Well, they have to do legal
Yeah.
notices for any of the planning and zoning
Yep.
meetings
Okay.
and decisions, I guess.
Of course.
I mean,
There's nothing.
you're not doing it in the New Haven Register.
No.
Because they're very expensive.
Ordinarily not. I think the only time we end up doing that is when
The
the time
timing-
frame doesn't work.
Yeah, okay.
Otherwise, we seek out the cheaper version.
Okay. Okay, so here, here's an example, planning department under telephone. For some reason, they're getting charged for toll calls and line charge and a third of a fax line. I know it's peanuts, but I don't know what, you know, if everything's under central service, there shouldn't be
Could be
anything
cleaned up,
here.
Have we thought about going to e-fax?
We have it. Just e-fax, we have e-fax.
No, I just want to.
Is that?
I just did planning.
Yeah,
and-
just-
okay, so now we're down, I'm on property and liability insurance. Okay, so when's the last time we went out to bid on our insurance?
I am not sure.
I mean, I don't remember seeing any RFPs come through or any, I don't know how this works for the insurance part of it goes. I totally understand commercial insurance and you don't necessarily go out every year to bid, but you at least,
Every 5.
you get, well, every 3 to 5, it depends on what the market is. But you at least get quotes in between if you're not going out to bid totally. I don't know how it works with, if there's limited insurance companies because it's a municipality compared to private industry on here, but just,
20K.
I mean, it's a large part of our, you know, you're talking $500,000. And you can't just assume that, okay, they gave it to you, this is what it came in at and it's fine. And what are we self-insured on?
We didn't fund that this year. That's if you, let's say, police car has an accident. The first 5,000 is on us, let's say, or the building situation, the first X amount of thousand is on us. That's where that pot, there's a pot in the non-lapsing fund. And we looked at the balance in that this year and chose not to put the 25,000. So that's why you see it going from 535 down to 510.
Yep.
So we did choose not to fund that this year.
And
Again,
because there's no note, so I couldn't tell what this was.
Yeah, it's like, it's one of those things, again, how many cars are gonna have accidents, how many things are gonna go crazy, you don't know.
Yeah.
Well, do we have an account with money in a non-lapsing account now?
Mhm.
And how much is in that account?
25K reduction.
What's our goal for accidents?
Well,
Zero, right?
It should be zero, that's what I'm asking. There's no other thing to have except zero.
You can't control when somebody hits the building.
Well, that's not our,
That's
that's
not-
not our
that's not it.
Not
vehicle.
close enough.
141,000,
all right, so that more than
Okay.
adequately,
that's why we chose not to fund
yeah.
it.
Yeah, okay,
All right.
all right. So if we can just get a little bit of information on what the status of this is, and, I'm, at this point in time, I don't know if they've gotten renewal notices in. It's a little late to go out for the budget year, because I know there's quite a bit of work involved in it, to do it. So, probate court, there's nothing. Inland wetlands, there's nothing. Or I don't have any. Does anyone else have anything? They're
No, there's
very
nothing there.
small budgets.
There's not very much there.
Right. Economic development, not much there.
Well, actually, let me ask you this. For inland wetland, we had an increase on advertising. What's that? It's a little over double. Why has that been increased from 600 to projected to 1,250?
Probably just kept the same budget as current year, I can ask them.
Okay. The actual was 300. Yeah, get a little clarity on that if you would, please.
Gotcha.
I know it's small, but
No.
nickels and dimes.
Okay, so under economic development, there's a cost for Destination North Branford website expenses. What exactly does that entail?
So they previously had a lot of, the program posted as good. You're familiar with that?
Yes.
Did
That's
anything?
gone.
Yeah, they decided to discontinue it.
Okay,
Part of that was a website destination like Branford.com. It's not a domain that the town currently owns, so they were discussing trying to purchase the domain and then use it for advertising local events. Branford has a tourism website. A lot of municipalities have a separate economic development webpage because our website, the template is limiting in terms of what you can do.
so who would be in charge of this if the town took, if it's not connected to our webpage and it's a separate webpage, like,
If
how
we
would
took
this
it
be
over-
managed?
If we took it over, it would be run by Rory as the economic development director, would be in charge of it.
Okay. Do you see benefit to this?
You know, one of the things that we're talking about is, we met last night with Will Delacamera, and trying to find ways to promote local agriculture and bring in some agritourism. Right now, we have limited options into what we could do to promote events that the farmers are doing. Several years back, the Ag Commission had put together the brochure with all
Yep.
the services.
Yeah.
The idea would be to digitize it and post it there.
We could technically purchase a new site, destination.branfordct.com or something like that, or .org.
But you would still have expenses if you had a website,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Basically, I mean, so whether it's called Destination North Branford or you
Yeah.
name it something else, you're still gonna have expenses
Still be hosting, still be all that, yep.
for
Of
it.
course.
So,
Yeah, so it is what it is.
right, so I think at this point, I would like to see, we'll give it a year to see once what you can do. And also, because I think it's important, the agritourism and whatever else, but I just don't want to budget money and then it just sits there and nothing happens and then we just keep renewing it. So I think we need to have a timeline and see exactly what comes out of this.
Right, because it looks like we're budgeting and we're not spending.
Yeah.
So either we don't need it or we're missing an opportunity, and I don't know which.
Exactly, yeah,
Which it
so there's some other expenses there I saw for advertising, or printing and there's printing expenses of $2,500 in here. So we need to, you have that, you have this Destination North Branford website for $2,000. So I think we need to give it a year and see once what can be done through EVC on there. And we'll look at it again next year.
And if you already have money in there that we're not using, why don't we just not fund it at all this year?
Well, because it lapses on June 30th, that money, if there's any money left over, it goes into the general fund.
Exactly.
It gets used someplace else, so you have to refund it.
Yeah,
If
reallocate
you're
it,
gonna-
otherwise it gets put in the general.
But I guess the question is, do we need to increase it from last year's budget? Well, our actual spend was right? 23-24 was 6,900, and projected for 24-25 is 4,800. And we're gonna increase the budget by another 1,000 from 11 to 12, and we're never spending it. So why would we increase
If you
it?
go back to the first page, Tom, go back to the summary for the department and focus on that 55,990 line. You'll see that 2 years ago it was $5,000. Last year it was $3,300, so we've actually brought the budget down $2,240. You know what I'm saying? So don't look at the department in total, look at that one line for the 55,990 on the very first page for the EDC.
Okay. I was looking at the total.
You look at the total, yeah.
Yeah.
You look at that one line item, you see that it was 5,000 2 years ago.
But still, then what's the total then?
For the department or for that?
This year, we're budgeted at 11,610 total.
Right. So, and then my screen is haywire on here.
Well, there's $1,600 budgeted for food. They have no events planned, so there's a savings there you're gonna recognize this year. Capital supplies, 1,000, predicting only 182. Printing and binding, 2,500, predicting only 1,000. So you have multiple lines where you're under budget in the current year.
Right, so my point was, I'm just looking at the total.
Right,
So 22-23 was 19,000.
right.
23-24 was 60, Yeah, right, and it was budgeted that year at 11. And, you know, as we go through, we want to increase the budget by like, another 1,000, but we didn't spend last year, or we don't anticipate we're going to spend last year's budget. So I don't know why we're going up. It's just a small amount, I know, but I just don't, I can't follow the logic.
Yeah, I'll get you. Get home.
Anticipate having any events or any food this year?
Right.
Spend more.
I mean, next year. Yeah, hard to say.
Yeah, they're kind of changing. They have the business purpose, which is kind of discontinued, so.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, I don't want you to spend money.
No.
But there might be you might have opportunities out there where you need that,
Yeah, or we
I'm
use
just
it,
trying to,
We
And
need to
look for
do more in
sponsorship.
economic development.
right.
I mean, there's 100%, we have to do as much, economic development is paramount for this town. And we have to recognize that. The only way we are going to have any more money to spend, which increased costs, is to bring business into town. Something important to recognize. You have a stone, you cannot get blood from it. There is no more coming. So the only place it's coming from is your back pocket or your pocketbook. It's the only way we're going to do it. So we cannot, that is an area that we do not need to be cheap on. That said, we could be smart. So we have businesses in town that are willing to come in and to use signage and to be present. I'll not pick on them, but I'll use Guilford Savings Bank, for instance. They have budgets for this very reason, to sponsor events and to bring people together. We need to do much more of that. I know you guys are working very hard, so I'm not putting you on Jump Street here and saying you're not doing it, but it is paramount for us not to be in the pickle every year with another extremely hard budget season. Because every year, it's an extremely hard budget season, because it's coming from my back pocket and your pocketbook. So, that's my little, I'll get off my soapbox, but I think we all agree with that in this room.
So, are we going to, do we want to cut anything from EDC or just
Let it ride.
go
Let it
with,
run.
go with the understanding? Rory, you got your marching orders? Okay, great, thank you. Okay, elections. So, Lisa, I'm just assuming that the decrease is because it's not a national election this year and we don't have as much of the voting, the advanced voting and all that.
We won't have the same early voting days.
Yes, okay.
Mike did put the signs out.
Well, that's not
Yes.
this budget.
Also, much less likelihood of a primary, almost nil, obviously, this year.
Right.
Opposed to-
Okay.
Right.
Right, okay. Okay, so I do see postage in here for elections. You want to keep that postage separate, you said, for the registrars? Okay.
Maybe we can
just-
vary, it's up to you.
No, I just want consistency.
Yeah.
All I'm asking.
What's the phone for?
Elections, really on-site, voting places, polling places.
So we have to put a phone out rolling?
30s.
We can't
Them
use it.
hardwired.
93.
What's that?
90s, no, wait, that's.
We have to have a separate phone out
Elections
at
is like
polling places?
95.
And we also have an IDS machine.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because they
Yeah.
have the same format.
We've actually explored this year at the schools, working with Tom Lonsdale, tapping into his voice over IP system. And
Tom
just-
Lonsdale's the IT person at the
I'm sorry,
schools.
I remember. Bringing a phone and just, he's been able to give support into his switch at basically no cost. So we're trying to see if that works.
Okay. Well, what's they require us to have a phone out there just at each polling place? Right. So what are you doing? Bringing a cell phone, bringing a phone? What?
Yeah, the election workers bring their cell phones.
So if we have a phone up the way.
employee benefits. So we're on the state plan for most of, I know Public Works is not, they're on Teamsters.
And
Admins
administrators.
are on Teamster. All the other unions are on the state plan. And what is the estimated?
9.9%.
Oh, I see East Shore Health was between 7 and 8, so wouldn't they be the same as us? I mean, 2%'s a lot when you're talking millions of dollars on health insurance. So,
I will confirm the number with the state, but at the last call that I was on about 2 weeks ago, it was 9.9.
okay. And so under the health insurance, the 52,800 account,
Mhm.
so the employee contributions, is that just netted out of there?
Yes, this is the town expense. So that on the bottom of my spreadsheet, there's a contribution for each of the various unions, subgroups, what they contribute. Whether it's, 13, 6, it's all over the board. So that nets out to the top line with the actual expenses.
Okay, and what about, because I'm sure we have it also, is there an incentive for employees who do not take insurance?
Yes, we offer 30% of what the town would pay to cover you as a payment in lieu of benefits. You supply a card saying you're covered by your spouse or whoever, we will take you off our policy and reimburse you on a monthly basis 30% of what we would pay for you otherwise.
That's a large amount. That's
Yeah,
a
it
big
sounds like
number.
a big number.
30%.
That's the number's been forever.
Well, that doesn't mean that we have to stay with
Oh,
it.
Doesn't the health insurance, what we pay, how much activity we've used, what we've realized?
Our claims?
Yeah.
But we're not self-funded anymore. We're part of the larger pool in both cases, on the Teamster side and the state
Oh,
side.
okay.
So little
Doesn't
like
affect-
Branford's experience is not going to move the needle
Okay,
that much.
okay.
That was the whole idea when the state came out with their plan and advocating all the towns.
Yeah.
In the beginning, yes, the whole idea is you're in a big pool and not in the small pool, but as it has grown in all other, even in private industry, your rate increases. I mean, in the beginning years, it was 3%, 4%, 5% increase when everyone else was seeing double digits. Now we're up to the double digits on there. Can we get a breakdown on the payment in lieu of by group?
Who gets it?
By group and how many people, well, I don't need to know names, just out of each,
Yeah.
like what the cost is and how many take single, what it's costing us, because that 30% is a huge number on there.
Look at it, we're saving 70%.
Yeah, but
I get your point.
that 30% that you're paying is and that now becomes their salary. I know you're saving 70%, but when I look at the Board of Ed, what they pay, I know on teachers, which is the largest amount of their employees, it is considerably less, and it's X number of dollars for single, employee plus one, and family. There's 3 breakdowns, that's it, and it's a flat rate. And it doesn't matter what the insurance cost is, it's a flat rate. And 30%, as the cost of the insurance goes up, that just means they're getting more money on there. And I get it that we save money on that, but it's the insurance, the health insurance industry has changed greatly over the years. It used to be you could be covered under 2 plans. They no longer allow you to do that. You could pick, okay, I'm going to take my own and I'm going to take my spouse's too, and we'll just play the system. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, my company only has 18,000 employees, and I don't get anything for not taking their benefits.
So that's, if you can get us that information, so we
Sure.
can see what that looks like. Thanks.
So who's in the payment in lieu of benefits by category? Police, clerical, such and such. And whether it's
Well,
something-
I mean, is everyone 30%?
Yeah,
Even in union contracts?
yep. I think it's spelled out in the contracts, in fact.
Okay, well, I mean, on union contracts, I think that will be a little bit harder to change until the contract comes up. So we probably, I would still like to see the numbers, because I think we can only change one of them right now if everything else is dictated by contract. Because we have no contracts coming up next year for renewal. We just did all of them. So, okay, on to police. Here. Okay, so I know when the police came in on, in March and gave us all of their budget, they were pretty comprehensive and their budget's pretty detailed. The only thing that I would have to say on this, because I know we have the new officer that chief that we authorized to bring on early because we're going to use the opioid money to fund it for this year. And so a further cut to the police department budget, I think we should use some more money from the opioid fund to fund part of the salary for next year on that person. I mean, we had $107,000 in the opioid fund. We get $1,700 a month back when the officer, if we don't pull the officer, which is great. We authorized $25,000, so we have at least 75. Well, we have like 80,000 in that.
We're allowed to use that, though?
Yes, that the state police uses it for that. I know Park and Rec, Carrie had talked about a per diem person in conjunction with this officer, which would come out of that fund also. So I just think we need to come up with a number that we're comfortable with. But that would be an area that I think for the police department budget that we can reduce it some because we'll use it out of there. And the chief did say that to replenish some of this money and, the $1,700 he was willing to give back into that fund so that when we get it, he'll put it back in there and then we have that money that we can use for other things. So does anyone have any other questions in regards?
We have one.
Yep.
So you have a line item in here for Fortinet VPN. Is this an unlimited license, or can you use it for other departments?
I'll pose that to the guy that manages our IT.
Because you have a $4,000 annual subscription
Yeah.
for your VPN. That would solve our VPN issue, if we can use it.
Yeah, I'll send an email tonight and see what that is.
Thank you.
Yep.
Please. Well done.
I guess the other question I have on here, and I don't know if it's in the police department's budget, is, I know Jimmy has his own backup sheets here compared, so it's a little out of the ordinary from all the other ones, but pension. Last year, we had a combination, it was a blended, the pension cost was blended between defined benefit and defined contribution. Is it that way this year also?
I break my employees down by, if you're talking about on my side, for my cost that I put in? Or is it
Yeah, well, I'm trying to, I guess I'll just have to go to the front sheet so I can see.
yeah, you probably know, mine are color coded on my side, but that's how I can tell you from here. So that's how I calculate the full cost and cost.
Yes, so his retirement cost from what's budgeted, which on this is combined between police and communications for the current year's budget. Is it 23? Well, no, this cover sheet that we have in here doesn't, I don't know if this is this 25, 26? Because it says actual 23, 24, and then we're looking at 24, 25. So do we have the right sheet in our packet here?
Thank you.
I have a red sheet, I don't know what you're looking at.
Okay, so,
I can give you my number if you want, though.
okay, so,
I see what you're saying, the numbers that.
Yeah.
names are not meshing up.
yeah, so we have, here listed for retirement, 52,300 on your cover sheet of 1.419274. Is that,
That's what I'm showing on mine, yeah.
okay, so do we just have wrong column headings here? I just want to make sure that,
Yeah, I'll check.
okay. So right now, we're looking at an increase of over $200,000 in retirement. So did we calculate this as a blended like we did last year?
As Jim mentioned, the full-time wages are black and white. He identifies his officers as their 401A employee and the pension and so on. The area that gets muddy is overtime. Because it's at the 61.6%, which is the defined benefit rate. So I know, I think Terry's working on a number for me for the last fiscal year as to who actually pulls overtime. Is it the defined benefit guys, more or less? Is it a 50-50 split? You know, there might be room to move on the pension as it relates to overtime and bring that back to a blended rate.
Well, I mean,
I'm showing $109,000.
well, yeah,
It's still high, but.
oh, no, on our sheet here, it's over 200,000, so.
Yeah, it's budgeted for 1,310 last year.
130, 135, we're at 1,419.
That's for.
Well-
retention, So I actually dropped that down by $10.
Well, actually, here it says, that's the projected, but the budgeted was 1.172.
Yeah, you just don't have the combined there. The combined on my sheet, the way it shows up in my front sheet is 1,310, 135, and that's combined the dispatch, communications, and this person.
He went rogue on us and did his own format, that's the problem.
I kind of like.
Well,
this
it's something that he could understand, and he did a pretty good job putting his budget together for us.
So my total increase I'm showing previous to the $10,000 reduction was 109,139.
Right, that's how the sheet is, it's 11319.
That's projected, but the combined budgeted.
What are you looking at, the worksheet?
No, I'm looking at the front sheet that takes all of his worksheets and puts the numbers in front of us.
Yeah.
And so the very first, it's page 100, is the combined sheet. That's what I'm looking at right now in the retirement account. And it has combined budgeted for this year is 1,172,013. Yes, the projected is 1,310,135. But that's not what was budgeted. So if you compared budget to the requested budget, it's an increase of over 200,000.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the 117, I don't show it on mine, but I can look into that where that came from, but I went back through all these numbers after we combined them. I can get your confirmation.
Okay. I mean, I'm very hesitant to touch pension and retirement only because we're underfunded in all of our accounts anyway, and you don't want to
You don't want to
get
mess
in-
with it.
Yeah,
You don't get
but
in trouble.
if there's some room to do something on there with that large of an increase, we need to look at that.
Yeah, just be careful.
Um,
Okay.
So does anyone else have anything on police? Okay. A lot of sheets there, a lot of backup sheets.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're on fire is the next one.
Can I just ask, when you're combining the technology budgets this year, if we can just leave my telephone and my I spent 4 months on cleaning up my phone system. And I'm still working with the EOC as they're adapting lines there, and I just, if I can just wait off 1 year just to get it solid before we transfer over and I'm moving things like that.
Well, we're not so sure that it's transferred over anyway right now.
Yeah.
So, yes, you can keep your telephone and,
Please just give me a year just to balance this out. I appreciate it.
That's fair.
So Chief, just one last question. What are the Centrex, why are you using Centrex?
We have copper lines that come into the system.
But there's Centrex lines. What are they used for?
Let me look at the sheet here.
Is that for the 911 center?
It could be, I'm just trying to find it.
It's backup?
They're Centrex lines, you know, they're outdated. Don't use them anymore.
Yes, that's for the backup 911.
That's why I
So
thought,
that's for the 911?
Yeah.
it has to be hardwired. You can't.
Yeah,
It's
that's for the,
required-
that's
the
why I
state requires
asked.
a backup system.
Okay,
Exactly.
it's for the 9, all right.
And we have 3
Should've known that
dispatch
already.
stations, that's why there's 3 lines.
Oh, Bruce.
Okay.
Should have known that already. He knew it, you should have known it.
I asked him if it was for the 911, so.
really, he was just guessing.
No, I knew that. That was.
You knew that was for the
Oh, yeah.
911 center?
That's what I do in my free time.
That's the
I run
first,
telecom.
that's the first thing that came out of his
That's what I
mouth.
do. That and a little bit about baseball, but mostly telecom.
Witness.
So interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay,
Makes sense.
okay. I know we're in fire department right now, but my question relates to all departments, is have we locked into fuel, gas prices, diesel, all of that stuff? Are they locked in, or are these just estimated prices, or?
Well, we just actually asked to do the lock, was it yesterday? Yesterday,
Okay. On what, gas and diesel?
on all of it.
On all of it?
All
So-
petroleum?
So will we know,
Yep, we should be able to plug that all in.
That's
we-
good.
can we make sure that they're the same in all budgets? So just so that we're not looking to, whose budget is 249, but someone else is 257, and I just want to make sure that it's all the same on there.
For 267.
Okay, so telephone, again, so I see the fire department has their own telephone charges. They're not being combined in central services?
The cellular are the cell phones, the data ones are the apparatus, the iPads, the iPad number, certain apparatus has iPads, and the internet, Comcast, it's billed under telephone. It could be other places, that's how it's just billed under that phone number. Each of the firehouses has a Comcast account.
Mm-hmm. That's how's each department owning the building? Like they're underneath their.
Each company 1, 2, and 3 own their own buildings.
Correct, so they're not, what we're paying for Wi-Fi in each one, under the group system?
They reimburse the town for the cost of the cell phone.
Okay.
So the TPX line, I think, is like $15 a month, something like that, per location, and that comes off their rent, that's spelled out in their rental agreement.
That's what I thought, okay.
So the telephone's 18,000? contract?
Well, I wouldn't say a contract, it's the Verizon, or AT&T, I should say, for the iPads, Comcast for the cable TV, and then the AT&T cell phones for the chief officers, marshal, and deputy fire marshal.
Did you separate on the utilities? Is Comcast on the utilities, or is it strictly on the telephone?
Telephone. Utilities is just electric.
So that's just strictly the electric bill?
Yep.
Telephone includes your Comcast TV, phone.
Right. Triple play, the Wi-Fi.
Have they thought about going Frontier Fiber?
We talked about doing streaming. Because the Wi-Fi is there, and in fact, at many of the stations, they do bring their own devices in and do streaming. So we're looking at contemplating getting rid of Comcast at both here and the rec center, which has multiple lines for each of the exercise equipment kind of thing.
That's a lot.
So, trying a different way of skinning it, and even buy a half dozen cheap iPads and let people plan them out when they want to exercise or something.
So will we know that before we finalize the budget?
About killing Comcast?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big bill when you add up all these different things. Or, I mean, do we just cut it and force it?
I think you,
Let me
because
talk
they
to
should actually
Dennis.
go to Frontier and start streaming, and you can, it's a huge savings. But I think a lot of this in the telephone is also all your cell phones, yes?
Well, it's broken out in the lines in there, yeah. There's the cell line, and then there's the iPad line, and then there's the...
Well, I'm not looking at that, so what's the telephone line from Comcast?
Well, it says
13.5.
data lines, cable TV, Comcast is 13.5.
Yeah, so how much is Frontier, if we went to Frontier? Says anything?
$211 a month.
Thank you, so let's just force it.
Well, so that, there's 3 firehouse, or 4, so that would be 2.
Well, 3 are in here, the ambulance is a separate one.
Oh, okay, so that's 650 times 12. It would be roughly $650 a month if it's 211 and you have 3
Yeah,
firehouses.
so that's 7,800, that's almost $8,500. So there's a $5,000 savings if we force it.
Plus streaming services.
7,800.
Well, if they're doing their own streaming, unless you're bringing in like Fubo and, what are you doing, Netflix and stuff like that?
Which line are you talking about? The telephone line?
Yeah,
Well, maybe we should find out exactly what's there before we start cutting it.
well, we're just talking about
Because there's
Comcast.
$18,000, it's gotta be something.
Yeah, it's sizable.
Right, yeah, like I said, it's cell phones, it's the iPads, it's the apparatus.
We're not
Well,
touching that.
the cell phones are $2,100.
We're just doing
For
Comcast,
the-
changing it out to, going to Frontier Fiber.
All departments have fiber, 3 has that fiber
Well,
up
I
there?
don't know if, well, up in 3, yes.
They
Up
do?
in 3, his fiber is available, because I'm on fiber, and I'm right behind 3.
Okay, I didn't know.
So, and then, I'm assuming it's.
We're bringing fiber up 22 to the center,
That's
so,
not-
Yeah,
That's not the
that's not going
same.
that way.
Yeah, that's not the same.
It's stopping at the center, it's not
Yeah,
going.
it's not at the center.
We can pick up company 2 probably,
yeah, that's what I'm that's what I'm
We'll
talking
get
about.
Company 3 would be on Frontier,
and company 1.
and Company 1. Yeah. So, I would force it to get rid of Comcast, I'm sorry.
Well,
But,
well, if you can just get some
Yeah,
information for
I'll talk with Dennis tomorrow.
either Thursday or the 22nd. If we can't have the answer by Thursday. The 22nd is the final, because that's when we're finalizing the budget. So,
and Jimmy said that he has fiber at the, he has Frontier at the police station, so.
That's correct, Jim?
Yeah, we're on Frontier, it's in the clock.
That's expensive.
okay.
Instructor wages, is any of that ever covered by fees from other departments, or are we just, when we're doing some share training, or is that, I think we do a shared Fire
We've
1,
done
Fire 2.
1 class and things like that. This is primarily our portion
Okay,
of the instructor program.
okay.
than equipment is larger items that break throughout the year.
Okay, so those are, would that be the items that they need? That they're requesting? Under that?
Under the 57,300 pounds?
Yeah. You're asking for 50,000.
Right.
Yeah, they're on.
So that's hose. Annually, we test hose.
Oh, so that doesn't
Because-
include some of the equipment that they're requesting?
Yeah, depends on what they.
On the capital project?
Yes.
No. This is other things that break throughout the year. Saws that break, we lost a saw at the fire in Georgia Road, that was a $2,000 saw by itself.
It's gonna happen during these
Yeah.
events.
No, I'm okay with
Nothing to
that.
do
I'm
about
just
that.
saying, I'm asking for the capital.
We have to have circumstantial things,
Exhaust fans.
yeah,
Mhm.
stuff breaks.
Okay, what's this maintenance of first due software, 20,000? What is that software?
First due is our record management software. We changed to that probably 3 years ago. We used to have Firehouse software for many, many years. They were getting out of our arena, and we explored a couple different options, and a committee put together, and First Due is what we ended up for our record management software. Tracks our pension points, tracks personnel records, fire marshal for inspections.
Does that feed into the systems here, like Munis and?
Negative.
No?
Totally standalone.
You don't need that? Do you share data or have like a data link?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
How does that reconcile?
So on the capital,
Well,
we wiped everything out off the capital?
no, we haven't even gotten to capital
Yeah, we're
yet.
not there yet.
But on technical equipment, that's a huge increase.
Yeah, that's the question Bruce was just asking. That's, like I said, if things break throughout the year, I mean,
Yeah, I know, but I mean, we went from 25,000 to 50,000
right.
on there. I'm
Can that
not
be
saying-
sharpened?
Yeah,
I mean, it is a, you know, it is
Yeah, no,
a double increase, so
I'm with you.
we shouldn't have that much of breakage, and because equipment is relatively, you guys are very good with your equipment, I know that.
They do use a lot.
Maybe drive it to 35 and cut back some,
Fans, things like that.
right?
Yeah, you just explained.
yeah, so,
Saws, fans.
so
It's
when
not
I
a
look
dozen
at
little
their,
ways.
when I look at their total budget,
use
what
it.
was budgeted and then the proposed for next year, it's a $120,000 increase, dollar-wise, just looking at the bottom line on there. So, fire department, I would like to propose a $20,000 cut, and you can come back with your suggested areas of where you would like.
I mean, you can get 15 right from taking the hard, you know, the technical equipment and bringing it to 35. That's a quick 15, could be probably pretty safe with that.
So you actually spent $24,000 in technical equipment this past year? Or was it more? The actual expenditure
4068,
for technical equipment was 24,000?
I mean, if it hits, you know, if it hits the fan, we can always make a change.
No, I
yeah.
get
We
it.
can always come back.
We can always come back and fix something. And take it, you know, do an
I'm gonna
appropriation.
snap me, man.
Just recognize
You
that
can't even
there's
put a
also-
price on
there's
their
already a
services.
$20,000.
I know you can't.
I mean, how could you
I
put
get
a
it.
price on what they
I
can't
get it.
predict what their emergency service response is gonna be. It could be very,
Thank you.
each time, so I mean,
I totally get it, but we have to
What's that?
wiggle a little bit. And then we can come back and correct it. We're all for fixing things, but we come back and correct it.
And looks at the right.
So if we go over that, you'd have to come back to the council and request more money.
Yeah.
Or if they move money internally in our department, we could try to cover it internally or come back to you guys for additional funds to continue to, and obviously if the fan breaks, then we got to replace it.
Right.
Yeah,
yeah.
of course, we got
Right.
it. We got it.
Okay. ambulance, and we're just funding it at the same level. Do we have any data on ambulance of where we're at?
I can give you the sheet. I
On-
can give you that sheet.
Okay, because we just have one line item here, and we have no idea where we stand on this. So building department, okay, so we added a part-time building official when we started our major building projects of the high school and the police department. And now those two major projects are coming to an end, or inspection-wise, they're probably there already, on there. So, thoughts on eliminating that position? Or have the building department come and defend why they need that? I mean, it was added a couple years ago.
Yeah, underneath the premise of those projects.
Correct,
And it was intended to sunset.
right. And I know there is some building going on in town and things like that, but,
Currently, that position is fully, new inspectors is what I'm currently, they're not this, idle.
So it's being utilized.
Do you,
I would definitely appreciate the opportunity to have building come in and talk to you about
That's
that
I think that's fine.
on
Yep.
Thursday. Great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. So now we are in, I don't have anything, does anyone else have anything for building?
There's not much more there. Wait, well, I do, actually, take that back. We have 16K in there for
Yeah.
consult services if needed.
I was just about to
Ha-
ask
What
that.
have we done with that in the past, and why is that in there?
other contractual, is that what you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, after other contractual, we have consultant services if needed, specialized technical assistance. So what does that entail, and why is
So
it?
that'd be any type of special inspections, like a special steel inspector, like we did on the pavilion, the special inspector that we had up there. That's what we, that's what we
That was reduced already by 8,000.
Is it
So you
something
cut
that needs to be
so you cut in
there?
half already?
It has been cut in half?
From the 27 down to the 19, that's where that
19.
money came from.
Okay.
Possible for anybody to get used to that microphone? Everybody is speaking back here, please.
All right, so that's been
Been reduced.
whittled down as far as it can be whittled down? I'm just looking for other areas to,
It's kind of just an unknown at this point, whether or not, what, depending upon what projects we have, that's what we.
but knowing the projects that we have in place right now, do you see an area where that is necessary if there's specialized technical assistance needed? Because I don't think we're doing anything that's a building with that magnitude. Franny, do you have anything that you can think of that would entail something like that?
Possibly your addition,
I mean, that's what I was thinking of, your addition, but other than that.
Yeah, but, I mean, I pay for special instruction.
So that will come out of your budget, correct? Maybe that's an area that we can sharpen the pencil.
I would say we could go down to 10,000, not really 9,000 after that. So at least we have something in case we need to do outside services.
That's fair. That's fair.
So Anthony, are you saying it
The
was?
16 was reduced by 8 already, there's only 8 left in there.
Oh,
for the
Oh,
consultant.
I'm sorry.
yeah, but there's no note on
There's
our
no note
pages.
there,
That's-
yeah.
It didn't show.
So we have, okay, so we're not at 16.
You're at 8.
We're at 8. So you can't
Yeah.
take it to,
No, we can't connect.
all right, so
Then
then
leave it.
there goes that. Okay. Then everything I said, strike, and we shall move forward. I'm looking at the numbers I have in front of me, which is 16.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
All right, so in here again is cell phone under telephone, so that's not a part of central services?
Negative. The cell phones are out to the various departments. Only the
Only the
TPX.
land, only the
Yeah,
TPX?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, why we can move them all essential, if that's, you know, we can
Well-
certainly make the move.
I think we should. I think we should have all telecommunications in central.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we have to
For the purposes of
be
keeping it
consistent.
consistent, I think it makes sense to put them all in there.
So these aren't part of the 65 devices that are out there?
They are.
But the 65 devices,
Covers the, 65 essential services only covers the.
malware,
Thank you, on that 65.
not
They're
the,
scattered throughout the budget, whether
Yeah.
they're police, fire, such and such.
I'd like to see them all within that area though, if it's just for,
I don't think it
Continuity.
matters which way they are, really, as long as it's
Consistent,
consistent
right.
and it's understandable, and we can all,
Yeah.
we can all understand it when we look
Yeah.
at it, we don't have to ask questions.
but you can,
Right,
you
I
can
mean,
see it more
then it doesn't matter.
clearly if it's in there and it, even if you have a line item, and you just add those line items and put dot what department,
Right.
I'd like to see it in there.
Yeah, but they're not consistent across the,
Right.
they're different pricing across the.
They're majority the same. Majority of the lines are the same.
And I think, Rose, I think with the, that part-time position, I think it's, we really gotta understand that, because
right, that's what,
we
and
could
that's,
fill a day's work with anybody like that, and that's not what it was intended for.
right,
There was a specific purpose for it.
correct, yes, and that's what Mike is gonna come back to us with. Okay, animal control, I know this is a contract.
Contractual, huh?
Yes, but when we entered the contract with East Haven, we didn't have a basis from
Yes.
Branford as to what our activity was. They were basing it, and now that we have a little bit of history with them, can we talk to them and see once, are we at, I know it's cheaper than what we were paying and everything, but now that we've built some history up with them, I think it's worth a phone call to see.
We can, and it's my intention to do so. The
10K.
terms of the agreement required us to wait until, I think it was either February or March had come.
Of this year?
Of this year.
Okay,
To be able to assess past data, and if both sides agree, we can adjust it down.
I do
So
remember that.
I'll be in touch with them to
Okay.
initiate that.
okay, great.
Do we think that that could be whittled by 10 or so?
I'll see what I can do.
Cool, thank you.
It was, I would say that it's a pretty significant drop in what we had been given from Branford. that
Yes.
They were
Yeah, it was
projecting.
great.
I mean, you've seen some of the sheets come in, and.
Well, I
it's,
remember when she came in and reported to us, I think.
Right.
I mean, they even reported that it was much less than what they had anticipated
Yeah,
on there.
Absolutely.
So, and I know the initial contract from when they first came in, we were able to shave a couple, it was 5,000, I think they gave us or whatever. But I think now that we have some data, we need to look at that.
mhm.
Um,
Okay, thanks,
Okay.
Mike.
Emergency management. Okay, I just have a question on here in regards to Civic Ready. So I saw Civic Ready here, and I see Civic Ready in technology. Is there a difference between the two of them? What we're paying for?
You might see Civic Plus in technology, that's the website. I don't know.
Let me see, when's technology?
Yeah, the second item down, Civic Plus, that's the website, and Civic Ready is the reverse
Reverse
911
911 system.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Hydrants.
Okay, I think Public Works is our next big one here. Okay, so I know this came up during our budget meetings about the facilities maintenance and combining departments on there. And so Public Works they combine it, they put it into their budget, but I still see it in other departments. So that would be double that we're budgeting for, and I think we need to have a discussion, pros and cons. Are we doing this, are we not doing it? Franny, would you like to speak to that? You need to come up to the table, though, just so they can pick it up on the...
I believe we are doing it, and we just haven't, I think we need to at least get set up how it's all gonna happen.
So we want it as a non-lapsing account, correct? So that if there's money left over at the end of the year, it's not in our operating budget, but it's in an account that will just roll over to the next
Continual.
year? Is
Yeah,
that the way
so
you
then-
would,
Then you would just fund whatever.
you used?
Yeah,
Whatever, if
so-
we set a dollar amount in that account,
Yeah.
like 50,000, like we did for the capital, which is a non-lapsing,
Right.
but this is maintenance, so two different accounts.
Two different amounts.
And you want them both as non-lapsing?
I would think so.
Yeah, we
I
can
mean,
move whatever balance out at the end of the year. If we're gonna have it in one account now, it makes it easy to monitor. We can just come May, June, whatever the balance is left, kick it out to the capital fund. And that way it doesn't lapse.
Okay, so it's hard
So
to
then
tell what we should put into that account.
well, the question I got is, are they gonna, you talking about putting them in the same?
No, we'd sub them out. We'd have the capital.
Right, so there's the capital one that we have right now is for major.
Right, which is on our
And then the new
CIP.
one is gonna be kind of the same capital, but it's gotta be its own fund,
Yep,
so that we could see what the totals are, and then in this kind of the way we set it up in the budget, I believe, we have all the departments
underneath.
that we're servicing, so we pull out of the one fund, and it goes right to, let's say, library. And it's gonna show us a negative, but, we paid the bill, but that's what we got spent at the library.
Right,
So each one will show us a negative, I believe, Anthony, am I saying that right?
Yeah, we can leave it in 54,301 in your department and sub it out below that, so it's all under you. You're not looking 7 spots for it, it'll all be under
Right,
your
yeah.
department. And you just
but
sub-
it would be part of the operating? How is that a non-lapsing then?
What I'm saying, at the end of the year, you look at what's left in that fund and move it out to the capital project fund, or move it from the beginning.
So it needs to be in a separate fund, right?
Right,
So that,
Right. Well, if you leave it in your account, you can see the whole thing from day one.
well, I mean, like
Right, if you 54.3, it'd be a public works department account, you'd have access to, and you could see the whole thing and track it that way and sub it out if it's a library repair or a.
well, Mark, as long as it's in a separate account where we can see the totals on the bottom.
Yeah.
Like before, we were talking, it was gonna be the capital, which
Right.
we wouldn't get that,
okay.
but, yeah.
So what we need for Thursday then is
A
to
number.
find, well, we need to, because Franny has a number in his account
Right.
encompassing from those departments, but those departments still have that amount, they
Right.
still have money in their accounts, so we're double,
And-
it's
and
double
we
in
do-
budget.
We do wanna leave money in each department's account, whatever.
Yeah,
Whatever the department thinks they spend on little miscellaneous stuff that doesn't involve us. If it's involving our maintenance department, that's going out and doing stuff, that's how we're paying for it.
Yeah.
The
Right.
stuff, the other stuff, whatever it is, if they need a quart of paint, or whatever, they can
right,
get their own.
so if it's $1,000,
Yeah, I might be able to
$1,500,
shop
whatever,
for it.
something.
Right.
Yes, okay. So if you can get whatever that is, so that we can see. And so this would work the same then as the capital. The person would have to, the department would have to put in a request and it goes through Public Works? Is that
But, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that you
So a
manage,
capital one is like, right now, we're fixing an air conditioning unit up at the rec. I mean, we're replacing it.
right,
That's gonna come, it's a capital expense.
right.
That's
Right,
different
but they
than-
have to there's a form or whatever, they have to contact you to
Yeah.
say they need this,
Yeah.
so that you know what's going on. Someone can't just do something and say, oh,
No.
take it out of the capital.
No,
Okay,
right, correct.
okay. So we can work on getting all the parameters of how that will work, but for budget purposes, we just need the numbers as to how that is going to work. And, okay, from what I could tell, we took out some from salt already?
Yeah,
Is
was that that's hard salt, not liquid, correct?
That's correct.
Did we replace, I mean, it seems like we're using a lot of the liquid
Yep.
and less of the rock salt. Is there any way to juggle that and maybe make a little bit of a reduction?
Through, well, if you don't, if you look, you tell me what you want, you take it out of rock salt.
I mean, do we have rock salt left over this year?
Yeah,
We have a lot of rock salt left over?
we're full.
That's what I thought, because we didn't use a hell of a lot of it. So can we reduce that by a good amount because of that?
He already took 20,
Yeah, I mean,
So you went to 20,000 off, again,
went-
I don't know if
yeah.
this number's correct, we're at 200,000 right now, right?
Yeah, but there's a little note, and you'll see over it,
I
said,
see
I-
here.
it took me a little
Reduced to
bit, but 20,000.
$20,000 came out.
Yeah.
Oh,
20 came out, so, I mean, if you wanted to take another 20 out of there, again, you can take what you want.
Well,
At
we
the
don't
end
wanna
of the
put
day,
you in
if
a
we have
bit-
a bad winter, I'm gonna be coming back and saying.
yeah, I get it, but we don't want to put you in a pickle. But
No.
if we can find things like this, explain this to me, because I'm not sure. Reduced to 22.5,
Right, he had
Tons.
2,500 tons,
yeah.
At
So you took out
$80.
250 tons.
he cut 250 tons.
At
That's why your
$80.
number's going from 261 to 241. Department requests 261, 750, and you see.
I'm seeing
20.
200.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
there, but up
Oh, here,
here.
oh, gotcha.
Yep,
Gotcha.
yep.
Because that number, there's the note,
261.
Yeah.
but then
Okay.
yeah, it's
That's rough.
a little confusing
Yeah,
sometimes.
okay. So I think, again, it's one of those things is if we can appropriate it if necessary. If we have a bad winter, we're up the creek regardless, we gotta do something. But if there's a way maybe that we can,
Well,
I don't wanna put you in a pickle though.
No, the good thing is we're full. We filled up, we just filled up. Everything it's completely full. So, you know, that's what we normally use. This year, we use less, so.
Good.
You know, you don't know year to year, but
Well-
again.
I trust you to make that cut where you think you can without hurting yourself.
If you're looking for 20,000, I'll tell you to take it out of salt. I wouldn't
Okay.
take it out of fuel or nothing, because.
No, I know you're gonna hit those numbers.
Well, fuel, the other area I was looking at is storms, you know, the number of events, overtime and everything
That's
else.
just, it's an average number.
Right,
I mean,
okay, that's why I was wondering, it was budgeted at 12, and is,
We gotta remember, you say storms, but they're really events.
well, events, they're
You know,
events.
You can have
It-
ice isn't a storm.
Yeah, it's an
but,
event.
You know, we've been out several times, ask Danny, he'll tell you.
Well, it could be
There's a lot
wind,
of-
it could be trees, it could
trees,
be,
it could
yeah.
anything.
Anything, yeah, I get it.
I refer to them as an
This is the
event.
one department that touches every single department, so we don't want to put you in a position where you're hurt, but if there's some ways to cut it, it'd be nice.
The phone thing is in mind too. Again, I refer to Anthony or Dennis on this one, but my internet is the cable, which is unfortunate, and very shortly, hopefully by July, we're gonna be on, that's gonna be gone.
Right.
There's no guarantee.
You'll be on fiber?
Well, can
Yeah.
you bring, you can
He's
bring
gonna
as
go,
well.
fiber's going to his place.
It's going to your place?
Our fiber, they were running up.
Oh, so that's what we're waiting for?
Oh.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna ask, just flip it
Well,
over.
they're supposed to be coming
But
to
you have
pull
to,
wires.
you have to do a
any day,
contract
so-
with them, so.
Yeah, but there's the line charge for TPX in Franny's account
Yeah,
here.
it's 18.
And internet access cable, is that
This
under
is Comcast.
Yeah, that's gonna go, but that will go away. because
will
we're gonna
go
be on the-
away. I mean, it's
We'll be
there.
on the town by fiber.
But we just found out the fiber's coming in like last week, that it's supposed to come anytime now.
So maybe we can reduce this to 6-month numbers versus 12-month numbers?
Well, the line charge we can take out totally, because that should be under central services.
Correct.
Because that's,
I'm talking about the internet.
I mean, honestly, I mean, I don't know how long it's gonna take. I mean, it's not gonna take long to string it. I mean.
If they put it
You
in.
can take it out, and if it doesn't happen.
They're telling Dennis by the end of June, the whole fiber project should be completed.
So put 6 months of.
That's what I just said,
Yeah.
put 6 months, hold it in
Don't
there
go
for
with
6
it.
months, it gives you a little bit of buffer, but it doesn't.
okay, and did you use any outside contractors for snow plowing this year?
This year, I didn't know.
Okay, so can we reduce the outside contractor snow plowing some? Not take it out totally, but
Well,
it's at,
again, yeah.
it's at 20,000.
Hold on.
I know the last couple years, you probably haven't had to use,
Well, that's even for other storms, but.
it just says
again,
snow plowing here.
Yeah,
It's a variable.
it's a variable. If it's a.
It's event,
If it's a hurricane, it's an event.
Rather than snow plowing, it's event?
Could be tree work.
Everything's
event.
events.
Could be an outside tree work they use occasionally as well.
Okay,
Well, I
well,
do
it's
have
just,
tree work in there on a different line item, but,
Yeah, tree, okay.
hold on one second.
You do.
You know, you can lower it. Again, at the end of the day, if I have a storm, I'm going no matter if there's money there or not.
Correct. Yeah.
It's just the way it works,
No, of course, we got that.
you know?
okay.
Makes sense. You have to
Can you
do it.
reduce it by half? Or take
What?
5, can you take 5,000 off of it?
So between salt, snow plowing, and cable, and the phone on there, we did 20, 30. We said 35,000 to reduce public works.
Is that viable?
It's 20 on salt, I mean, that's where I got my note. 20 on salt, 10 on snow plowing, or 10
I
on
wouldn't
outside
do-
events.
I wouldn't do that. I would do 5. I'm just, because there's the unknown.
Yeah, but
I mean,
there's
and I know
20 in
he's,
there.
but he's gonna have,
We'll just come back to us and we'll find
I
out.
guess so, all right.
I'm not gonna say no to him.
And then, well, you have,
I'm not gonna say no to anybody.
no, but
I'm
even,
only kidding.
but,
I'm good.
but on cable, if Comcast, you're keeping 6 months in there, but if they're in there by June, then you don't need the 6 months, so you
Well,
still,
then do it 3 months. I mean, where are we? We're April, right? April, May, June, so it's 3 months.
right, so then you don't need to do anything for next year. We're starting July 1st, this budget.
This budget's
Oh,
like,
then take it out.
what's our fiscal?
That's,
Sorry.
I just
Late.
got that now.
I know, well, we're trying
How'd you
to,
get
And you
35
haven't
rows?
provided
You went
food,
10
so-
on contractors, 20 on salt,
Yeah,
Right.
5 on the.
and 5 on cable TV.
Yeah.
well, it's
He said
phone, the phone is
I know.
in there
There's a
and
food
cable.
line.
They can brown bag it. What do you think, Fran? Can we take the food line out? You guys just brown bag it?
Yeah.
No.
And we are on overtime now, so I'm just, you know,
Yeah.
we are on overtime rates, right?
Tommy's Lunchbox. New place, good place.
The
Only
foods are
couple
for
people
events,
cut.
it's not for, it's
Yeah.
Christmas parties.
So we're cutting 40 on salt total.
Yeah.
Yes,
You're cutting 20.
correct,
Yeah.
correct.
But it's, again, does it put you in a pickle?
He said he's full.
And just like you said,
Could always
if
get
he
it
needs
if
he's
we
just
need
gonna do it anyway, so.
Yeah,
could always
that's
get it.
right.
I like that. I'm good.
It
It
happens.
happens.
It's
Yeah,
happened before.
Ask for forgiveness later.
We had a real bad winter a
Who else
couple
does
times.
that?
I get it.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
We're due for one, but we don't know.
We just keep going. We come back.
You know,
to
that
you later.
climate
Hopefully
change
global
just
warming
going
will
down.
save us some money.
What was that? Yeah.
okay, engineering, I did not have anything on engineering. Streetlights is, nothing to do on streetlights. Health and welfare, that was this.
Anthony,
Yes, sir.
on the town side,
Yes.
do we understand the solar?
I pretty much have the answer.
Okay. I'm just wanted to make sure.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, I would just,
We take the credits.
yeah.
And we
I
budget?
just want to make sure, so
Yeah,
we're
we budget.
benefiting from it?
Every department that has the solar, if you notice, has a solar offset credit in there, whether it's library or streetlights or central services, anybody that has a fire, anybody that has a solar credit, we budget.
So there's a real savings?
Oh, yeah, definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
So this
I'll
is
update
this,
this for the
right?
next time, I'll update the sheets for you as well.
And this here would be the only thing that would remain if that wasn't there, correct? If we did what we talked about. I mean, that's just like obnoxious.
Rose, on engineering,
Yes,
there's a $3,500 charge for the printer.
Right.
Is that the blueprint printer?
That's Chris is there.
That's a large format color plotter. Right now, we just have a black and white capability, and we're looking to upgrade.
I know.
Can you lease that?
Pardon?
Are you gonna purchase that or lease that?
Yeah,
Is this a
purchase.
lease?
That's a purchase, yeah.
What if we leased it?
I did not look into that, but I could look into that.
That's been probably better service.
okay. Do you have anything, did he answer your question?
Yeah, you're gonna look into leasing the plotter.
Okay,
Better service, nothing.
okay, under health, I just want to So the community renewal team, Louisa,
You squeak.
is that your program that you have for, just for North Branford residents that we put money into last year? The community renewal
Right,
team?
that's an agency that the state of Connecticut contracts with, and that agency provides the energy assistance. So whatever people heat with, oil, electric, natural gas.
You're thinking community gift fund, Rose.
Okay, so where's the community gift fund?
There's no money this year. That was just a swap you did last year. You took out dining room and put in gift fund.
Well, but do you do the community gift fund every year?
Oh,
Yes,
Do you use
that's
it?
different than community
Oh,
renewal.
okay,
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to know.
Right, right.
So why can't we take the $2,500 to community dining room and split it between, and give,
Well, it was already killed by the town manager.
what, the community dining?
Limited by town manager, it's right there.
No, I thought that was
No,
the
not
top
dining,
one.
renewal.
See, I can't tell what, I thought it was the community renewal team.
No, the dining room's been killed.
That was the dining room I took out.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't.
But if you want to add money to the, we could do the operating transfer out, community gift fund, that's a whole separate conversation.
Yeah, I would like to, we did that last year because that services North Branford
Only.
only.
Yeah, North Branford, Northford only.
Right.
Not
Same time.
Shoreline.
Correct,
Right.
correct.
2,500, what are you looking for?
I believe we gave you,
3,000.
that's what I thought.
3,000?
We gave her 3,000 last year. I think we need to
Okay.
keep that.
I'll put it into the operating transfer out budget because it goes to a different fund.
Okay. Okay. All right, let me just see what's here.
Getting there.
Okay, Veterans Commission, nothing. Okay, in social services, we have phone in there again.
Cell phone, yeah.
No, not cell phone,
No.
line charge, including fax line.
Oh, okay.
The 840?
No, what's no, the cell phone is separate. No, it's
Not
100.
listed, it's only listed as one item. It's 840.
No, there's two things, 720 and 120.
So the 720 is a fax line also?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's gotta go. The 720 is your cell phone.
So the 120 is the fax
Why
line?
is it twice as much?
That's gotta be killed. I'm not sure what's
Well,
in
shouldn't have it if we're doing
Right.
fax, right?
there. Right.
That
Right.
cable TV in the waiting room.
If you look at the historic averages going back to the first page, it's, 543, 535, so the 840, the budget for current year is wrong and corrected.
Oh, here we go. Package. Yeah, there was
Uh,
10.
Okay,
What's charity tracker?
what
Wait,
is,
so what's charity tracker?
Charity Tracker is a software that we use to convert all our paper files onto digital files. So instead of me having a folder for every person I work with, it's a software so I can have a digital chart, if you will, almost like my chart.
Yeah.
If you're it's similar to that.
Okay.
And it includes
Yeah,
the
secure site.
notes, documents, so if I complete a program for an individual, I scan that app, it's always in the system.
Okay. Thank you.
okay.
I thought it was something different.
I'm on to library. Okay.
Suggested that we cut them completely.
Nope, first I'm going to the old telephone account here, and there's a lot of phone here. Phone, fax, fire alarm for Atwater, Smith.
Oh, I got it.
Those are
No, mine
just
doesn't have numbers.
regular phones I'm taking, so are they supposed to be in here?
I have to check. Some of those are on cellular as well. Again, we
Okay.
converted all the fire alarms to cellular.
Okay, so.
We were kind of given guidance to put it in, to have it taken out. I think these were placeholders, if you will, so that the town kind of knew
It's great,
approximately
yeah,
what the
that
costs
is-
were. But there is a lot in our telephone because it includes our internet service, fiber maintenance, phone. cell phone.
The problem is, it gets put in, and then no one catches it, and it stays in. And so, as part of our job, we go through and we are looking line by line, and I get it, they're doing the whole budget and trying to put it together, but that's why we need consistency here.
I'm sorry, why is there you have a fiber maintenance? What's that for?
That's for the fiber line that was run from NBIS, I believe, to Atwater Library.
There's a maintenance charge for that? Or is that wait, I'm sorry, that's the lease for the poles?
No, this was something that was installed prior to my arrival. I think previously we were on DSL, and fiber was the only option at that time. So this is something that we get E-rate funding for.
Okay.
Because it's such a long stretch of maintenance, it really is from NBIS all the way to Atwater Library.
Actually, that's the lease payment for the poles. That's what that's a good.
Okay.
Where? Okay.
Disclosed.
Okay, we talked about facility maintenance already, so we're gonna look at that, the telephone issue. And the other one that I'm looking at, or just need more information, is in your overtime account, the working on Sundays, being open on Sundays. I know that's a partial year, October through what, April, March?
November through the end of March.
Okay.
What time am I doing?
Is it used to, give us some data on that as far as if that is something that we would consider.
Are you suggesting closing in general or just not having full-timers? Because that just applies to full-timers working on Sundays.
Well, if there's some way you can do it without additional cost, great. If not, then it might be closing on Sundays.
Well, before you do that, what's the usage on Sundays?
Well,
Do you know?
that was all
That's
part
what
of
she's asking, yeah.
that was all part of my
Yeah.
question, to get the data
Next meeting.
Okay.
On there. That's all I have on library. I don't know if anyone else has anything on library, but,
No.
okay.
Is the
Is that lift still costing us that much? I mean, where are we on that lift? I do see you have budgeted 25 for that.
So that's just a maintenance plan. I wasn't sure what the council felt on trying to maintain a piece of equipment that they just spent $90,000 on. I think it's really just honestly, oiling. It's not
Kill it.
required like the elevator is by state law.
Yeah.
This would just be helping maintain this new piece of equipment.
But it needs $2,500 to oil it?
That's what I mean.
I'll do it.
It's pretty expensive, so if you're looking to eliminate, you can probably start there.
Can you
But
do
that
it?
was the price that was given through the contractor that installed it.
Yeah, I think.
But
that's
is there a
fine.
warranty on it right now? This is,
Um,
or
it-
this is maintenance?
It's
This
maintenance,
is
but
Maintenance. They own it for 1 year. They have
Yeah.
a 1-year warranty, which
Okay.
will.
I think we reduce that down.
Is that for
Nickels and dimes.
vertical access lift?
Yes, that's the new one that was installed in Atwater.
So why would we not maintain it?
Well, I think, I don't know if.
Is that a real number?
That's the number that was given by the contractor that installed it.
25.
Right, so can we,
We're all
the question becomes, can we maintain it at a cheaper cost?
I mean, they'll come out and service it, but this is just really considered preventative maintenance, you know, to
So
make sure.
put like lithium grease on it.
Yeah, but I mean.
We could
you know,
probably do that
preventative
for
maintenance-
about $9.99.
No, the question is do they, for this, do they come out once a month to inspect and maintain it?
I think it would be quarterly.
So they only come out every 3 months?
Yeah, kill that. That can literally be taken care of for $9.
By who?
Well, it's a little bit of lithium grease, and you just take it, it's like a garage door, you get a little
So
spray
you're an
bottle.
elevator maintenance repairman?
I mean, see, this is what we
It's just
fall
a-
into. Wait a minute, this is a trap we fall into in the town. You know, we just purchased a brand-new piece of equipment. Here's a perfect example. So we need to maintain it so that we don't build a building and say it's a 50-year-old building and then we knock it down.
No, I get it.
You know,
I understand
Yale didn't
that.
get knocked down yet. Xavier didn't get knocked down yet, and it was built the same time our high school was built. People pay tens of thousands of dollars to go there. So here's a perfect example of properly spent money, in my opinion.
Well, what is it that it's being spent on?
It's maintaining the lift.
What is the main?
Did we just, how much, we just spent $90,000 replacing a lift?
But Bruce, understand this, just,
I understand what you're saying.
what are you maintaining? So when you say you're maintaining, is it in the maintenance, in that agreement, are they saying maintenance is adding lithium grease to X number of joints, or is there other things? That's the part we have to stipulate.
Okay,
know
so
what-
let's say
I
it
don't know
is,
what the
let's say it
maintenance
is
contract
adding
states.
lithium grease. Who's gonna add it?
Yeah.
Who's gonna add
We
it?
might void the warranty by not maintaining.
Right.
I'm just saying, $2,500, there
So,
might be a way to get that
We
done.
had this installed when?
Maybe we can look towards,
It took a long time.
I know.
It's probably
Year, I
less,
believe.
it's less than a year old.
It's less than a year old. It's-
So so we have 1 year of maintenance on it technically right now?
Right, if something goes
Till
wrong,
when?
the company that installed it.
Right,
is
till,
responsible.
so we're gonna run into September for the maintenance contract?
I think it's a half year.
can we ask the opinion of Public Works and what they might think about maintenance on this and how they would go about this? Just a thought process, since they do this type of thing.
It's a tough thing to answer on the fly. I guess we would need to see what Lauren has for a contract, you know. Is he just putting lithium grease on the rollers? Is he doing a multi-point inspection? Do we have to do the inspection to hold the warranty?
Okay, so,
Yeah, so we just need some information on it.
Right.
so if you could just check it out
You
and
just
bring
gotta
it back.
remember, every time we put a new piece of equipment in or build a new building, everything we put in is more modern. And it takes there's a difference in maintaining
yeah.
it. So it's important to maintain our stuff.
I get that, but sometimes it feels a little bit like, you're at Target when they always ask you for the, do you want to buy the warranty, and you're like, oh yeah, it's,
I've never been to Target. I've never been to
Does this have to be
Target.
inspected by the, is this
You're
have to
married,
be
you've
inspected by
definitely
the
been to
state?
Target.
You gotta remember though, Jeff, this is a lift, this is almost like an elevator.
Right.
That'd be like
Yeah.
saying we're
This is
gonna put
safety.
lithium grease on the elevator.
This
You know,
is-
you
I get
can't,
it.
we can't maintain that.
This is safety.
They're both valid points. We can look into it and, come up with
Okay.
consensus.
It's not about that. We're done with that.
We're done with the
I just
lithium
have a,
grease?
we're done with that
Since when
lithium
are you
grease.
an elevator maintenance guy?
I just have a question about your material, annual material.
Yep.
Those prices, is that what you noticed, 46,000 for,
I have my own fence.
That includes, so we have a collection of 70,000 plus materials.
Okay.
So that includes a variety of stuff. It's not just books, it's media, it's non-traditional stuff. It does include some digital stuff, it includes e-resources, subscriptions for newspapers, subscriptions for magazines. It's a pretty broad spectrum collection. It's not just books, even though it's named books.
so normally that's what you have to get, you spend that much yearly?
That has not changed. There was a slight increase, but then it was cut back
Okay.
5,000.
Thank you.
We're getting uniforms. We're gonna-
Okay.
That was just one of my post-it notes.
Valid.
Okay. Do you have anything else?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Brandy?
Rose, just so you know, there's safety, during that maintenance thing, there's safety, all the safety switches and all that have to be inspected.
Okay.
Just
All righty. Okay, on to community center. All right.
You okay?
Okay, they have DOT physicals in here, which I know they need because of the CDL drivers.
Yep.
Is that covered under the town manager's budget in those physicals or not?
The DOT physicals are part of the medical certification process, which is different.
Okay, all right. Okay, and I already saw the positions that were eliminated on here. Your paraprofessionals for the summer, that has already been taken out of here. Under special, oh wait, and let me see what's here. Let's go back to telephone. Okay, they do have line charges in here for $1,800 on line charges. Is that supposed to be over in central services? Okay. And then there is,
Is the TV for the equipment in the gym?
Yes.
And that can't run on the fiber? Or on a subscription service?
That's, we have mentioned before, it's the same thing we talked about for a long time. Do we bag the fiber and go to streaming? And then we buy a couple of, cheap iPads for people that want to go on the
Exercise.
treadmill, sign them out while you're exercising, bring them back in, kind of thing.
It also impacts, I mean, we have a television, we have a cable line in the
For
senior
seniors.
room
Yeah, I
and
get
in
it.
Louisa's office, because they do watch the news and other things.
okay, under equipment maintenance, they have maintenance on copier machines. Are their copiers not part of the copier leases?
I don't know.
I know it's your first budget year and you're
I
very.
haven't seen a bill for that yet.
Okay, so just, I mean, you're at $46.75 between the two of them on there. So just, okay, and we already talked about pest control, so I see they have 2,100 in pest control.
Ours is separate. We use Waltham.
Right, so this is one that we need to also look at to see.
I would say the bottom three would be moved to the centralized account, and the top two would stay there. Foot cleaning doesn't involve any pest control, but the bottom three would be under the public works. HVAC, electrical, and plumbing.
Okay, yeah, so there's the whole thing that we talked about, facilities maintenance. So what are you taking out of this account, putting into public works?
Right.
Then I see they do have postage also in their account, so don't know if that's part of central services. On here.
I think it should be.
And then there was, let me just see here.
So are you planning on dumping Comcast also?
I mean, I've considered breaking up with them.
Could you please?
Feels personal. Bruce didn't get hired.
Bill, Bruce, why don't you run their wires for them?
Also, on your line charges for the phones, you're on voice over IP? Yeah. So this is about $42 or $45 a seat for the three phones?
I'm not sure why hers are separate from the building. I can check on that for you.
Yeah, that
Unless
was,
you still have your POTS lines out there that you're paying for?
She should.
You don't know?
I don't know. Not my skill set.
And you're definitely breaking up.
That's right.
For the
Gas?
yeah.
Makes sense.
Um,
I'll lose it.
So, I under professional development, I know you are new to the department as director, but I think given the climate of the budget this year, I think we should nix the national conference for $5,000. We'll keep the other ones, the annual conferences, but I think we need to cut the national conference this year. Thought process from the other council members?
I think there's
Could-
value there, but I get it.
Could we compromise on that and take 4 of the staff to conference?
You mean the annual conferences, the CRPA?
Yes, please.
Yes, I would do that compromise.
Thank you. So we would increase that by 425 and then reduce the
Yeah, so we'll,
It's fair.
so it'll be a cut of 45.
4,500.
45.75. That's,
Yeah, it makes sense.
that's a fair compromise in my mind.
Thank you.
What's the ASCAP music license fee?
That is for our streaming through the senior center and the community center. We have music streaming. That's our licensing fees.
Oh. Okay.
And I see under other contractual, special event equipment, tree lighting, but I saw tree lighting in the,
That should have already,
That's
been
killed.
moved.
okay.
That's why
It's in there right now.
from 16 down to 14 is killing the 2,000.
Yeah, okay, there's no note, so
Yeah.
didn't know what was killed,
All right,
sorry.
so that's out of there.
Okay,
Hmm.
all right,
All right, easy enough.
okay.
We
Um,
also made some additional concessions earlier too, as far as like our heating oil. I don't know if you saw that as well.
What's your number?
We reduced
Give
it by
back 20.
10,000.
Total 20 all around.
Go back.
Not that one light on it, but for the department.
So you went down to 31?
Correct.
Yeah, that's not on here. Okay, cool.
We also made some other adjustments too. I know that there was that 2,000 in the tree lighting. Oh, we also had reduced our substitute hours as well. Yeah, I think we adjusted those to 80 hours as opposed to 95.
Correct.
So we saved roughly $2,000 on those line items as well.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if that's reflected in yours.
Don't, can't tell. Okay. Alrighty.
So under the building maintenance, wouldn't that go over to Franny's budget?
Yeah, that's all part of the numbers they have to get us. So postage, line charges, building maintenance, equipment maintenance for the copiers. Under equipment rental, they do have copier leases in here also, which
I don't see that.
it's
Yeah,
under
it's
equipment
$295
rental,
a
the
month.
last line, it says copier lease, $3,540.
So for leasing it, there shouldn't be any maintenance on the copier. 'Cause that goes on
I
the
don't
debit.
know about that fee. I would need help determining that, please.
Yeah, I mean, but I thought copiers were under central services. So that's what needs to be checked out on that. Okay. I do not have anything else on community center. Does anyone else?
No.
Okay, Ag Commission is nothing. So Franny, there's 1,500 in Reynolds Beer's house. Is there anything the town does that they maintain? It's under other contractual. So it says minor repairs as needed. Is that something you guys handle?
like I said, in the past, they used to bring it in, but, yeah, I hadn't heard from them since they did it over, so, I mean, we could call and ask them.
Well, not Little Red Schoolhouse, Reynolds Beers.
Oh, Reynolds Beers, yeah, well, yeah, we do stuff there.
Okay, so we'll just leave, it's not much, it's $1,500, so I just wanted,
Well, I cover any, it's just like the food bank, you know, we cover that. We're gonna cover that.
right. But on the food bank, we're putting the rent in a separate account from food bank and Totucket TV so that we have a pot of money to use for expenses. So we just need to make sure that Franny has access or understands that and to use that money rather than coming out of your budget until we don't have that money, until it's all gone. But
And you can, even the rental as well, that's it.
pardon me?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, so under public celebrations here, you know, there is the whole police control for various events. And some of these events are events that the council has voted that the pension part of the bills come out of the police, yeah, the extra duty fund. I haven't seen anything in this whole year so far, and I know we've had, you know, the POCO, we've had Memorial, well, not Memorial, but we had the tree light, we had various things, and we haven't seen that, and I don't know if that's built into these costs here, under other contractual.
15.5.
Yeah, so if you can, you know, the regular charge for the police comes here, but the big cost is always the
Admin charge.
the admin charge, yes. So if you can check that out. Elderly housing is nothing. Debt service, we're not doing. Board of Ed, we're not doing. WPCA is nothing. As waste is nothing. Refuse removal. So I know we're under contract for this, and we are in the 5th year. Is that year 5?
About to go into the 5th year, that's correct.
And is there something that we have the option of extending for 1 or 2 years without going out to bid again?
We do, I believe, have an option for extension. I can't remember offhand how long that possible term is.
Okay, so I know this probably is not going to be popular, but I'm just going to put it out there since everyone, you know, it's a tough budget year and everything else, but bulk waste, I know it's part of the contract.
Can't bring that up in a public forum.
Well, too bad. But can we not do bulk trash? I know it's part of this contract, there's extra clauses in here, there's extra costs related to bulk pickup, but what are our options?
I'll say one thing, kind of going to go against you there, Rose, on this one.
Just gathering information.
This is my opinion. There's a lot of houses in town that are having a problem, just as it is, keeping their houses clean. You know, and I don't know, I think you're going to end up with just stuff. I don't know.
I'm just,
I think it's going to turn into a mess.
Well, we can just see what our options are.
Right.
And then weigh it out.
yeah, I'm just,
But I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I do know, I know
yeah,
exactly what you mean.
Like, he's accepting, isn't he accepting bulk waste?
who? John?
Yes,
I don't know.
up there. But I think it's not for the rest of the stuff.
I don't know, but you know, just throwing it out there,
I mean, they would have to pay for it themselves. It would be, you know, same, you know, it's.
At one point in
they're
time-
paying for it anyways.
but at one point in time, the town did not cover trash pickup. Everyone had their own they paid their own trash contractor. And we did not have refuse. You're looking at $1.6 million.
So if you want to propose it back and put it to them that they want to go back to having their own refuse pickup,
Well, I mean, we have one more year on the contract, so I think it's a conversation we need to have.
So you're saying with the next year, if we get an extension, you want to eliminate that from?
I just want to gather information, and I think we need to have the discussion.
And we've got one more year
Right.
where we
Yeah,
will
we're in contract.
have it the way it's currently structured. But if you'll remember,
Nothing wrong with
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
if you'll remember, we
looking at the
had
numbers
to,
and things. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
we had to separately
chunk, yeah.
negotiate for years 3, 4, and 5 in that contract, the bulk portion.
Right.
So of course, at that juncture, I remember we had a brief discussion about that. Do we keep 1? Do we do 2? And ultimately it was decided to keep it the way it was. So certainly there's, the ability, I think, to negotiate and discuss with, first of all, we're gonna go out to bid for it again, or if we're doing, if we're
Yeah,
gonna do an
you have to try.
extension. If we're looking to do an extension, we can certainly get options about either eliminating bulk or reducing it to 1. Same thing with the scrap metal, see what that does. Give you a menu of options to see
Right.
what differences those make.
Yeah, I think we need to ask those questions.
It's a big number.
Yeah, it's really big.
Okay.
Again, that's a factor.
so excuse me, I'm sorry, Rose, you're just talking about bulk pickup, you're not talking about regular refuse pickup?
Not, correct, not for next year, no, it would still be refuse,
Strictly
but,
for bulk pickup?
right, and, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was thinking,
And then-
you gotta get rid of the whole.
No, we have time to have the conversation and look at our options and see.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking $1.6 million.
Yeah.
That's not bulk.
Just for the bulk?
No.
No, that's for.
Trash.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
That's
That's
the
everything.
trash, that's the
The
refuse.
full package.
The whole package. Extra clean, extra pickups, bulk. It's right now we give because the condos don't have trash pickup, so they get a credit. So that is in here because they don't get the services of,
That's interesting. Is that the 120? Because it's on the same line as, it looks like a debit, not a credit.
I have no problems with that, I get my own dumpster anyway, so it doesn't.
Yeah, the 120 is the
But I'm gonna
condo
dump all my
rebate.
stuff in your house.
yeah, so,
It was in a different line.
yeah. So
Bruce,
that's,
where you live, I'm gonna use your dumpster.
yeah. Okay, so the last thing that I have is contingency. So my first question is, we have budgeted for contingency for the current year, and I didn't think that we were over it. We have budgeted, according to this sheet, $69,269, but it's
That's the remaining budget.
So that's, okay.
So
as you come down.
as you use it, let's say for wages, it comes out of this number and goes to the various departments.
What was the actual number?
The starting point?
Yeah.
Well, it says here
So it's
projected
so
340.
Yeah. So
Was
we've
it-
gone down, Mike, you've reduced it.
Yeah.
To
As you
320.
apply it to other things, it goes down
It's just a
to,
funky way to look at it.
well, the budget, you're moving the budget
Yeah.
from this number to wages. let's say.
I know, but we
Yeah, I get it.
didn't start, we started with 340.
I'll stand by.
Well, I know we had a number of contracts that we didn't know, so they were in.
It says 23, 24, 137. What does that mean?
No, it's 24, 25.
You started this year with 349, 264.
And we're already at minus?
No, you're not minus. You
No.
have 69,000 left that you haven't kicked out
Right,
yet.
but, so why do we have, if we have no contracts up for renewal, so we already know the wage increases, why are we at 325?
Because you don't, your public works is not in the budget yet, because you haven't blessed the contract. So that's in contingency. The administrator raises for next year.
That I know is always.
Those are two in there. So you have the 175 base, and those are the two items that are in there on top of that.
So the public works budget that we just saw went through
Does
is
not
not
have
a
their
true
wages.
number.
You are correct.
Right.
Doesn't have their wages in it, because the contract hasn't been blessed yet.
So we have
Okay.
to.
When we drafted it, the union hadn't ratified yet.
Okay. All right.
It's coming to the council
Have to cut some more salt.
at-
Well,
on the 22nd of April, it'll be before.
Has it been tentatively agreed with?
Yes, they agreed with it.
It's TA,
So
okay.
They signed it, so yeah.
All right, so we have if it's TA, we pretty much know where we are at this point.
Yep.
Can there be any reduction on the 325, or is that?
yeah, I just see that as a high,
Pencil
I know
sharpen.
we have public works and I know we have administrators.
Right.
We kind of have a number for administrators that we traditionally have been around. So.
We're TA on the other one.
And then I know we have roughly 100,000, 115,000 for other things, not wages.
175.
I think, I
That's our
thought we,
starting point, 175.
yeah, I think we cut that down last year. And not had 175.
Okay.
Didn't start on there. I just think we need to adjust this
I
number.
I think we can move that, if you could, I'll confer with.
Yes, if you can-
We'll come back with.
That could be a nice area where we can make a reduction, it doesn't really,
Right.
hit line items as hard, and we can move the needle.
Just remember that you.
I know.
Discussion for the last 3 hours has been, we're gonna whittle. If we need it, come back to contingency.
I know.
Now you're gonna kill contingency.
Well, we're gonna kill it a little bit, but.
Yeah,
We got a big number to knock down, so.
So are you talking like going to 250? Are you talking like 100?
It depends on what the numbers are for public works.
Bruce said he'll cover the rest,
Yep,
personally,
absolutely.
to log the phones.
I'll give you my tax bill for the year.
So, okay, so you know what you need to come back with us?
Oh,
to us?
yeah, I've been keeping notes.
Okay. Good. I mean, I have my notes, but,
Mike's been writing them down too.
I think I'm on page 8, I think of notes.
okay. So we are not going to do capital tonight.
Anthony's going to the shredder.
Yeah. So we have no idea where we're even close on this budget right now, because tonight was a night of fact-finding, questions and everything, so, we already did the homeowner's benefit adjustment.
Everybody wants to find out what it's gonna be.
So the next item on the agenda is questions on the 2025-26 budget from public, we just did the
questions
question, I'm
were-
sorry,
was
public,
you guys
we're on
were-
public comments.
Correct.
So if there's any
Sorry, Mike.
public comments, just come up to the microphone, state your name and address, and we'll limit it to 3 minutes, not that I think we'll need it, but there is a limit of 3 minutes, so if there's any public comment.
Annette Scatino, 63 Glenwood Road. Just a question about all the cell phones that all these departments have that are, you're not sure where the phones are and if they're cell phones or landlines. Can't the town get one cell phone plan and get a better rate and have them all be on the same plan, and then you divvy them out per department based on if there's 3 lines in this department or 5 lines in this department, but work on, who has AT&T, who might have Verizon, who has iPhones, who has, other phones?
We have one plan. It's one plan through AT&T.
It is one plan for all of them?
And
Because
the
the way
rate
it
we have
sounds,
is the question is, where are they budgeted? That's our
Okay.
question.
all right. But it is one town
One town
plan
plan,
for the
town
cell
rate.
phones? Because the
Government
way,
rate,
the way it was
government
sounding was
contract.
like nobody knew where they were and if they were, just want to make sure that we're getting.
More like where they fall within the
In the
budget
budget, yeah,
lines.
it's not that
It's not
we don't-
necessarily
Okay.
the
It's not like they're under
physical.
somebody's couch or something.
Yeah, it's not the physical.
Well, you just want to
item,
make
but
sure
yeah.
that you're
I
getting
know
the
it's
best
confusing.
deal you can with 65 or
Yeah. No,
even
it's
35 phone lines.
Absolutely, it's a
Cell
valid
phones,
question to ask.
just, It sounds like there's a lot more than 65, but that was my question about
Okay.
the cell phone and organizing that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
That was less than 3 minutes.
Okay, any other public comment? Okay, so our next budget workshop will be Thursday night, April 10th, 6:30, council chambers. They're coming back with a lot of answers to our questions here. And also, we will be doing capital and the Board of Education
Fun.
on there. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm coming to your house and using your dumpster.
Okay. I'll just have to get a 50-yard dumpster.